Spencer, Pierre de Barry from Bars in Burnaby, BC.
Thanksgiving's my favorite time of year.
Yes. Enjoy your meal.
Thank you.
The CFL on CBC. It's Thanksgiving, and we're serving a heaping helping of Ticats and Stampeders. Last week, Hamilton kicked its losing habit cold turkey. A rekindled Ricky Foggy, 2 yards short of 500. He's finger-licking good. The Cats are giving thanks for Archie Emerson and his breakaway speed on the ground. Lamar McGriggs continues to knock the stuffing out of opponents in a season already done like dinner. Give Jeff Garcia the wishbone and he'll wish for consistency and chemistry in a turbulent season. And Vince Danielson has gobbled so many passes, he's on the verge of 1,000 yards. Returner Marvin Coleman hopes to set the table with good field position.
I told you, keep your hands out of the plate.
It's Thanksgiving. Come and get it! It's a splendid day in Calgary in the CFL's Wild, Wild West. The Stampeders, normally a lock for first by Thanksgiving, are in a dogfight for position. Today they face the unfortunate, yet unpredictable Hamilton Tiger Cats. Good afternoon and welcome to the CFL on CBC. I'm Mark Lee. Well, the Stampeders are in the playoffs, that's for sure, but where they'll finish is still yet to be determined in this 4-team race out west. The Ticats, they haven't won here at McMahon Stadium in 9 years, but the Stamps aren't taking them for granted after escaping with a close win just 3 weeks ago in Hamilton. The big question, though, for Calgary today, how will this team react 1 week after that deflating loss in overtime in Edmonton?
It was disappointing to lose that one, and there was some finger pointing directly after the game, but once we came together in the locker room, it was like, hey, we've stuck together through a lot this season. Let's continue to stick together because we're going to need to be together come playoff time.
In the booth today, Chris Cuthbert and David Archer. Happy Thanksgiving, gentlemen. Welcome to the show. You heard the quarterback saying leadership skills will be his forte this week.
Well, the Calgary Stampeders hope they've served up their last turkey of the year. They squandered a 22-point lead in the third quarter against Edmonton. How tough is that on the psyche of a football team?
Well, it's very tough. This is a veteran team, but that's a bitter pill to swallow to lose to your arch rival Edmonton that way. But it is a battle-tested team, and they'll come back and they'll play hard today.
Now, team goals #1, but there are a couple of milestones at stake today that could help Calgary over the top.
Well, Vince Danielson and Kelvin Anderson are 55 and 59 yards respectively from 1,000 yards, but Danielson only caught 1 pass, and Anderson only had 59 yards rushing against his team 3 weeks ago. So they'll have to step up their play today.
How about the stats for Ricky Foggy last week? Third highest in Hamilton Ticat history. Ricky Foggy's loose, and so are the Ticats. That can be tough for a team like Calgary to handle. What are your keys, Dave?
Hamilton blew a lot of opportunities last time these two teams met. They need to cash in those opportunities, mix up the looks defensively for Garcia. And Calgary on offense, they must have a killer instinct. They did not have that last week. It cost them. And stop Archie Emerson on defense had a big day against this team last time.
3 weeks ago, Paul Osbaldiston 1 for 6 kicking field goals, but he hasn't missed since.
All right, Chris Walby also joining us on the crew today. He'll be training his Walby cam on some key matchups, and there's an added bonus.
Thanks, Mark. Yes, indeed. The Walby cam is indeed back in action. We're going to be looking at big plays, big hits, and some of the things of the turkey variety. And speaking of turkey, I've taken upon myself as rookie of this crew to cook a bird for the crew and family of my CBC family. And as you can tell, they're hungry and they're antsy. Back to you, Mark.
All we ask, Bluto, is if there's something left for us at the end of this football game. What a day for football. It's 4 degrees, but the temperature will climb throughout the afternoon. A slight breeze, great conditions in October in Calgary for a football game. We're ready for the opening kickoff, and now here are Chris and Dave.
Certainly is, Mark. Beautiful day. There's Urban Bowman, who is covering up a shaved head in celebration of his first win as a Hamilton Tiger Cat head coach last week. And Wally Buono, with a victory today, would tie Bud Grant with 102 victories as 6th highest in CFL history. And Paul Osbaldiston has it on the tee. We're underway from McMahon Stadium in Calgary. Kelvin Anderson has the football, and here's Anderson up past the 45-yard line before he is driven back. Rob Hitchcock led the tacklers, a 20-yard return as they're slow to break up. And Jeff Garcia will lead them out. He was on pace for his best game of the year last week in action against the Edmonton Eskimos, but everything came undone in that fourth quarter.
They really lost control of things in the fourth quarter, but he's the number 3 rated passer in this league, and he has 30 touchdowns. He knows how to put the ball across the end zone.
The starting quarterback, number 7, Jeff Garcia.
So the Stampeders starting from their own 46-yard line, and Kelvin Anderson gets the football, and Anderson running straight ahead up to the 51 has a pickup of 5-6 to start the game. And here's how Calgary lines up offensively.
Well, this offensive line has played pretty well all year long. Romano, McNeil, Jamie Crysdale is the guy in the middle making all the calls. Childress and Burns anchor the other side. This is a good core of people. Kelvin Anderson may be the key. They need to get the running game going against a tough Hamilton defense.
Kelvin Anderson trying to become the first Stampeder running back to record back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons since James Sykes in the early 80s. Here's Garcia on second down, and that ball was up for grabs. Frank West was in coverage as Alan Pitts was the intended receiver.
Then Joe Monford was there to force the play. Garcia rolled to his right and tried to hit Pitts down the field on a corner route angling towards the sideline, but a big hit by Monford created some problems for Jeff Garcia.
And Joe Montford, week in, week out, has been outstanding for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and we've talked a lot about their defense throughout the season. Well, here's Tony Martino, second in the CFL in punting this season. And Sam Rogers is the lone man back for the Tiger Cats. Martino with the wind at his back, and this one driving Rogers into the end zone, and this one will go all the way through for the single point. That's a 79-yard punt by Tony Martino for a single, and the Calgary Stampeders on the board, a minute 21 in. So Ricky Foggy comes out. What numbers last week? And Foggy surprised that he has had as much playing time as he's received. Did not, though, start against Calgary 3 weeks ago. That was Anthony Calvillo, but with Calvillo's injury, it's Ricky Foggy getting his second consecutive start.
Well, he was brought in here as a backup because Mike Colley, the original backup, was hurt in a ball game, and then with Calvillo going down, now Foggy is really forced into action. He played extremely well last week.
From the 35, the Tiger Cats, Ricky Foggy, and he finds Ashonde Smith, who can't hang on. So the first pass dropped. It was a problem that Hamilton quarterbacks have had a lot earlier in the season, but finally getting a little stability in this offensive set.
The offensive line has really stepped up. Tom Newton, this is his first season in this league, and he's anchored the front. Mike Moriali had a monster day against Calgary 3 weeks ago with 7 catches for 127 yards. He hopes to duplicate that effort.
That was Moriali's career best, and last week against Winnipeg, 88 yards. So they're starting to find Moriali. 2nd and 10, and Ashonde Smith goes up and can't bring it down again, and I think we were almost looking to find Mike Moriali on that pattern.
Yeah, Mike Moriali came open down through the middle, but he decided to go to Ashonde Smith, who was running the curl route for him. And Calgary does a good job, as a lot of teams do in second and long. They just drop back into zone, and Eddie Davis comes over and jars the ball loose on a ball that was thrown just a hair high, but Ashonde probably feels like he should have come down to that one.
So Paul Osbaldiston, who was the key figure in the game 3 weeks ago, comes in.
Osbaldiston, number 3 in punt formation for the Tiger Cats.
And a time count violation. John Ireland is the referee. It's offside.
Offside, Calgary number 44, still 3rd down.
Anthony McClanahan, or Ray Biggs, check that. Ray Biggs jumping the gun.
These are some of the problems that Calgary's had, is lackadaisical penalties on special teams. I've heard them last week against Edmonton.
Oz has had a solid year punting, 44.4-yard average. lining this one into the wind, and Marvin Coleman looking for a crease, can't find it as he's drilled down at the 36. 43-yard punt into the wind and a 3-yard return. Joe Romolo with the tackle. It's early first quarter in Calgary.
I drive a lot, so
Calgary and the Stampeders have enjoyed good crowds all season long. Been an interesting year after the 0-3 start. There's a former Stampeder, Gonzalo Floyd, had a big game against Winnipeg last week. Defenseman lineman of the week.
He's in there for Mike Campbell, and he played really well last week, and they're excited about the way the young guy's playing.
So a first down for Calgary at their own 36, and Jeff Garcia rolling to his left and now delivers the football. Terry Vaughn, nifty move by Vaughn, and still going up near midfield. Tough to bring down, and he does get to the 55-yard line. That's a 19-yard gain for Terry Vaughn, his 66th catch of the year.
Now, this Hamilton defense is ranked #2 in the league against the pass, and it's because of the guys up front. Gonzalo Floyd, as we talked about, was the defensive lineman of the week. Justin Ring back in the lineup. That's the spot K.D. Williams had been playing for this Ticat team. Now Ring back on the field. He had 7 starts earlier. And Gerald Vaughn, 6'2", or 6'3", 195-pound halfback. Great size, great range.
And another former Stampeder in the secondary for the Tiger Cats. First down, Stampeders, and Garcia is flushed out of the pocket and brought down by Michael Philbrick. So the Hamilton front, 3 sacks in each of the last 2 weeks. Didn't get to Garcia 3 weeks ago, but Philbrick brings him down.
Well, Mike Philbrick is an effort guy, and you have to be that way when you play the D-tackle position. A lot of times being double-teamed. Philbrick fights through the block there of Jay McNeil and makes the tackle. That's his 6th sack on the year. He was an all-East selection last year. He's playing strong again this year.
6 of the starters on the Hamilton defense have played every game this year, including Philbrick. 2nd and 11. Here comes the blitz. Garcia gets it away. Dwayne Ford wide open and unable to bring it in.
Jeff Garcia trying to beat the blitz to the fullback. Dwayne Ford, number 34.
Well, Dwayne Ford is not really a featured guy in this offense, but he has caught 14 passes, and he averages 15 yards reception. They're coming after him. You see Tiggle coming through the middle. Garcia hangs it. Justin Ring did not get back on coverage. Dwayne Ford was open just a little too long for Ford to pull in. Good effort, though. Super effort to lay out and make a play. Try to make a play.
Yeah, the big fullback doesn't get many opportunities in this Calgary offense. Tony Martino upping his average with his first attempt. Again, the breeze at his back with Sam Rogers. Deep for Hamilton. Rogers will play this one. Rogers nailed this. He got over the 10-yard line. Chris Lewis was the man to make the tackle out of the University of Calgary. 51 yards on that punt by Martino.
Well, that's an area they've been, the Ticats have been anemic in, and that's returning kicks. They only average about 4.5 yards a return. It's just ridiculous. But this guy he's averaging 4.5 yards every time he touches it, running the football. 139 yards against Calgary last time. Didn't get him involved in the first series, which is 2 incompletions. I expect to see Amerson touch the ball here.
Hamilton starting deep in their own zone, and there is Amerson, first carry of the day, and he is stopped by Anthony McClanahan. And just a yard for Amerson, who says with Ricky Foggy's scrambling ability and running ability, that may take a little heat off Amerson, and he may be more effective with Foggy in at quarterback.
Well, that's a play they featured last time these two teams met, was the counter play. They ran it real successful out of the gun. This time they run it from under the center. Foggy hands off to Amerson, and that's obviously a play that Calgary is concentrated on to try to shut down.
Well, a 2nd and long for the Tiger Cats. 2nd and 9. And here's Foggy in some difficulty, and Ricky Foggy nailed at the 17-yard line. Bronzell Miller was there, Alondra Johnson, and a 4-yard pickup will leave the Tiger Cats 5 yards shy.
Well, as often the case, whenever you're in 2nd and long, teams will pull back and only rush 3 people. That's exactly what Calgary's doing here. McClanahan comes up, and so does Alondra Johnson. Once Foggy declares he's going to run with the football, but they're dropping 9 into coverage. Very difficult to push the ball down the field with 9 people back, and you really only have 5 into the pattern.
Coleman, number 17, back at his own 50-yard line.
Marvin Coleman back to accept the punt from Osbaldiston. Another good line drive punt into the wind. Coleman trying to get outside. Now he'll turn it back, and he's nailed at the 52 of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. 46-yard punt, but the Stampeders have the ball in Hamilton territory when we come back.
Welcome back to Calgary. Last time these two teams met, Archie Emerson, 139 years rushing on the counter. Here's how to stop the counter. Watch Jermaine Miles here at the bottom of your screen. He stuffs the lead blocker, creating confusion in the backfield, turns the back up, allows the backside pursuit, Anthony McClanahan, to come and make the play. That is how you defeat that play.
Chris Walby with his analysis, but he better get back to the barbecue soon. We don't want the turkey burnt. Here's Kelvin Anderson with some room off the left side before he's upended by the middle linebacker, Calvin Tiggle.
And was hit by Calvin Tiggle, number 73.
7-yard pickup
The game is 7 yards.
for Kelvin Anderson as he gets closer to 1,000 on the year.
It's important for Kelvin Anderson to get involved with this offensive attack. It allows Garcia to do so many things. He had 65 yards against the tough Edmonton defense last week, but it's so important for him to be involved because now he allows everybody else receiver-wise to get involved.
5th in the league in yards from scrimmage on the year. 2nd down, Anderson gets the call again, and he's up close to the 49-yard line, and it's a 1st down.
Anderson, like all good backs, gets better as the game goes along, and the more times he touches the football, he begins to see things better. He begins to press against the hole. Here he realizes he only has 2 or 3 yards to pick up a 1st down, and instead of dancing around, he goes north and south and gets the 1st down to move the chains for Jeff Garcia and his offense.
He's had 4 games over 90 yards this year, and his best 127 against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers as he closes in on 1,000. And this time, play action. Garcia rolling to the right, and Floyd was in pursuit, and a pass thrown incomplete, intended for Chris Lewis.
Jeff Garcia's pass.
Well, Jeff waited a long time to turn this one loose. Again, the play action fake held everybody inside. They have to respect Anderson. He's run the ball well here early. He gets outside of contained Jeff Garcia and waited a little too long to deliver the ball outside. I thought he looked for Pitts, waited too long, and threw the ball incomplete.
He had a tough go at Diver Wynn 3 weeks ago. 16 of 32, only 211 yards, 3 interceptions. Came down ill that day. He said, physically, I didn't feel right, and the longer the game went, mentally, he got out of sync. And it was a long afternoon, but he pulled it out in the final minute. 2nd and 10, and out of the gun, Garcia throwing over the head of Terry Vaughn, and Garcia struggling with his form in the early going.
Yeah, Jeff's a little off right here. He had Terry Vaughn coming in all alone against man coverage and just couldn't get him the football.
So Garcia off to a 1-for-5 start.
Now this defense has done this to a lot of quarterbacks this year, including Doug Flutie. There's been a lot of people that have had problems against this team. They're number 2 in the league against the pass.
And again, Rogers back under 7 minutes to go, 1st quarter. And it's been a game of field position so far, and it has been dominated in that department by Calgary. And again, Hamilton is going to be backed up after a 55-yard punt. But again, in this 1st quarter, they're going against the wind.
That's a poor decision right there. He fields the football at the 5-yard line. Let that go into the end zone so you concede the single point, but you give your offense some good field position out to the 35-yard line. He fields it inside his 10. There's no place to go. Calgary, one of the better coverage teams in this league, and they pin him back again. This is when you have a game that has 2 defenses that play as hard as these 2 defenses do, field position becomes a premium. The wind's blowing a little bit here. It can create some problems. So Hamilton's dug themselves a hole for their offense.
So Ricky Foggy hasn't had great field position in this 1st quarter, starting from the 7. Short drop, looked right, now goes back the other way. The ball was tipped, but Prince Wimbley comes up with the football, and he'll have a 1st down up at the 18.
There's a lot of precision, a lot of timing that's involved in this game, but there's also a little bit of luck. And that's what happens here. This ball is tipped. Foggy was trying to pump to the outside, looking for a big shot, didn't have one. Now he's going to dump it off to Prince Wimbley, and just good concentration. Wimbley makes the catch on the tip ball, and then he fumbles it out of bounds. I mean, that was a pure luck play there.
Yep, to start with and to finish with, but Wimbley gets Hamilton its first down. That was Marvin Pope who got a hand on the football before Wimbley got two hands on it. Fake to Amerson, and Foggy goes down. Ricky Foggy, there's Jermaine Miles. Chris Walby talked about him, and this time he makes the defensive play on Foggy, and a pretty good right hook.
Well, Chris Walby talked about how Jermaine Miles had blown up the running play, and 3 weeks ago, Chris Walby had a chance to talk with Jermaine Miles, and Miles had told him that he was a sack specialist, and he displays those talents right here.
First knockdown of the game. The right hand, and a loss of 7. Back at the 11. Second down, 17, Tiger Cats. Here comes the blitz, and they get Foggy at the goal line. And they're going to mark it at the 1. So back-to-back sacks. This was Kenton Leonard on the blitz.
Halfback blitz from the short side of the field. That's something that's featured throughout this league. And Kenton Leonard is going to come from the right side of your screen, untouched. Foggy doesn't seem in time. Ricky's looking to the right side of the field. Now he wants to scramble, but Kenton Leonard's got that area sealed. And the reason that was not a safety is because he'd established his ground at the 1 yard line and was pushed back into the end zone, so the ball's placed at the 1.
A little heat on Kenton Leonard with Jackie Kellogg, who was with the Stampeders last year, now in camp and looking for a job in the secondary. And out of the end zone, Paul Osbaldiston, are you thinking safety here as Hamilton is really backed up? And Oz does put the knee down, conceding 2, and Calgary ups its lead to 3-0.
That's the only decision they had there, the ball at the 1, wind in their face. They would have gotten the ball out near the 50-yard line. Calgary leads 3-0.
With the win, the Calgary Stampeders will move into second place in that tight Western Division. And Urban Bowman started the playoffs today. He says this is their semifinal game. Next week in Saskatchewan, they'll play their final, and they're in the Grey Cup against the Edmonton Eskimos the final week of the year. That is at least how the Tiger Cats are approaching the final 3 games of the year. Here's Marvin Coleman, and he stopped up just over the 30-yard line. And here's Mark Lee.
Chris, with a couple of weeks to go in the season, here's a snapshot of that playoff race in the West. Right now, Edmonton 4 points ahead of second place Calgary. The Stamps, though, can still finish first. Still to be determined, though, which team will cross over to the East Division as the third place finisher. The Argos already clinching first and a bye into the East final. Montreal will finish second, but who will replace Winnipeg and Hamilton as the third place team in the East? That to be determined, and probably right down to the final week of the season.
And the Tiger Cats still with designs on not having the worst record in the CFL this year. So there's a couple of things that Urban Bowman has dangled there for his team to shoot after. And there's Lamar McGriggs, who has played at full speed all season long.
A lot of people ask what motivates you to play when you're 2-11, 2-12, or 2-15, whatever your record happens to be. Well, that motivation is pride, and pride is a huge factor in how you play. And Lamar McGriggs certainly has some pride as he ran down Anderson from behind.
Employment is another motivator.
Yeah, sure, all those jobs are being evaluated on the Hamilton side of the football.
And McGrigg's buddy, K.D. Williams, lost his job earlier in the week. Second down, Garcia in trouble, and down he goes at the 25-yard line. And Willie Whitehead, who had 2 sacks last week, has another here. That's his 10th on the year.
I think you have to give a half of that one to Michael Philbrick, too, who was in on the play. But Willie Whitehead has really stepped up this year for this team. This young guy, 9 sacks, you said, 3rd in the league in sacks, 2 last week. He's my definition of a fire breather.
There's Dennis McPhee, who's in charge of that defense. He likes what he sees in the early going.
Philbrick rushing the center, Crysdale, and Chris Burns working against Whitehead, and Whitehead gets in.
Martino's punt, and Rogers stepped up to pick that one off and is down at the 50. A 40-yard punt by Martino. And the Ticats with better field position.
What's so great about it?
So for the first time today, the Hamilton Tiger Cats with decent field position. They'll start from their own 51, trailing 3-0 with less than 3 minutes to go in the opening quarter. Here's Foggy throwing over the middle behind Bert Thornton, who got a hand on it.
May have been tipped at the line. Number 4, Bert Thornton.
There's windows to throw the football in. Whenever you're a quarterback, you try to find those windows, especially throwing against zone. The linebackers to the weak side for Calgary zoned this off, and Foggy's expecting Thornton to set the ball down in one of those holes. That's why the ball's behind Thornton there. Thornton didn't read it that way, and he didn't sit it down in the hole. Subsequently, they missed communication and the missed throw.
Bert Thornton missing 8 games this year because of a quad injury. I think he has Earl Winfield qualities. Has not been able to play a sustained level of time at that position this year. Now Foggy, this is incomplete to Moriali on the near side. And quickly 2 and out for a struggling Ticat offense in this first quarter.
Well, this is a Ticat offense that threw the ball very well last week, as we see Foggy throw the ball incomplete to Mike Morale, but they ran the ball so well against Calgary, and you have to think that Calgary prepared to stop that run. That would in turn let me believe that I have a chance to throw some play action pass. Fake the ball to Amerson and get the ball inside to your slots.
So instead, the 7th punt of the game coming up. And Marvin Coleman drops deep again. 1,523 all-purpose yards for Coleman on the season, having another all-Canadian year. Rush was on, but Osbaldiston gets it away. Marvin Coleman, and not much room there for Coleman as he is down by Cooper Harris. 41-yard punt. Here's Mark.
Chris on the Stampeders sideline with Jeff Garcia's father, Bob, who's a former college coach and up for the game from California. Wondering, Bob, what sort of advice you give your son, especially after that tough loss in overtime last week to Edmonton?
Well, you know, football is a game of life, and it's just like life. You're going to have your ups and you're going to have your downs. And sometimes you have control over the situation, sometimes you don't. And that's the thing about football. There's 11 people on the team. So what you got to do is you just got to regroup and look at what took place and learn from experience and come out next week shooting, getting ready to go for the next game.
Briefly, can you tell us what makes your son tick?
Well, you know, Jeff's always been a great competitor. It doesn't make any difference what sport or whatever. He always wanted to win. And when he played for me at junior college, we would sit up all night watching the game films and looking at every play, and then his wife would come down and say, God, you guys still watching film? But that's what makes him win.
Loves the game.
Loves the game.
Thanks a lot, Bob. It's nice to meet you.
You're welcome.
All right, Chris.
Yeah, Dad loves the game, too. Maybe we better put the Walby cam on Mr. Garcia this afternoon, because I hear he gets a little into it.
Yes, he
the
does.
game goes on. Well, Jeff Garcia with a 15-yard strike to Travis Moore, and now goes to the outside and finds Alan Pitts for the first time today. Back-to-back completions. This one's 14 yards to Alan Pitts.
Well, Jump's come out with a purpose in on this drive and had 2 completions. This one to Alan Pitts. But I have a chance to visit with Jeff Garcia's dad last night, and he is a piece of work, boy. I'll tell you what, that guy, if he doesn't give the pregame speech for any playoff game to this Calgary team, they're missing the boat. The guy is really fired up.
And Jeff Garcia's got the hurry-up offense going, gives it to Anderson, and he plunges forward for 5 more. As this first quarter comes to a close, there'll be 1 more play for Calgary with the wind at Jeff Garcia's back in this opening quarter.
This is what you see when good offenses struggle. They seem to want to change the tempo of the game, speed it up a little bit, lock defenses in. That's exactly what Jeff Garcia's done here, as he's gone to a no huddle, and he's limited some of the things that Hamilton can do defensively.
2nd and 5. Play action, or maybe a broken play. Garcia will make the most of it. Jeff Garcia down to the 35-yard line. A 21-yard pickup for Jeff Garcia on the final play of the opening quarter.
Well, Jeff Garcia is the 6th leading rusher in this league, and it doesn't concern him if he has to carry the rock to get it up the field. They're on the move here in Calgary.
Crisp autumn day in Calgary, just a perfect day for football. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. As we get set for the second quarter, Jeff Garcia and the Stamps up by 3.
You know, I think Jeff's really played himself in position to maybe be a nominee for the most outstanding player in this league from the West. And the reason is because he throws the ball so well. He has 30 touchdown passes, which leads the West, but he also can do this, and he runs the football. I had a chance to talk with Bruce Covington, the injured offensive tackle, the big tuna for Calgary. He said that he has a bet with Garcia. If Garcia slides head first and gets down, he has to give him $5. But if Garcia goes in head first, he has to give him $5. So he says Garcia's down about $4,000 to him because of the way he runs.
Garcia 29-13 as the starting quarterback for the Stampeders. 1st and 10, and Garcia rolling left and finding Vince Danielson. And that is close to a first down at the 26-yard line. Danielson with the catch in front of Frank West. Well, that tells you all you need to know about the Hamilton offense in the first quarter.
Yeah, that displays it right there. Calgary's control the football, and they're winning the battle of field position also. I think you have to contribute some of the numbers there for Hamilton's offense. The bad play on the punt return team. They've been limited in their field position.
9 yards for Danielson. 2nd and 1 at the Hamilton 26.
And now spotting it a yard short of a first down, so 2nd and 1. And Kelvin Anderson has the first.
Kelvin Anderson, number 32, puts his head down.
So the drive will continue for the Stampeders, and Danielson will check back in. Tough team to beat here at McMahon Stadium in the 90s. The Stampeders' record is 63-7, and so far on the season 6-1. They've only lost 1, and that was to the neighbors from the north, the Edmonton Eskimos.
And that's really the only team I think that ever comes in here and has a chance to win. Everybody else comes in knowing this is one of the tough venues to ever play in.
Hamilton 23.
So the Stamps on the march at the Hamilton 23. Garcia with time over the middle. There's Danielson down to the 5. A loose football, and they're ruling that the whistle had gone. Lamar McGriggs with the hit, but Danielson the catch, 19 yards, and now Vince Danielson closing in on 1,000. He's at 973.
Well, Vince is such a smart receiver. You see, he sets Lamar McGriggs up, gives him a little lean to the outside, and then breaks inside, creates some separation from McGriggs. And his roommate, Jeff Garcia, is right there with him, puts the ball on him. Just a smart player. Vince Danielson has really filled the void in a big-time way for the absent Dave Sapunjas.
1st and goal. Kelvin Anderson to the 2. Willie Whitehead the tackle. That replay showed on the last catch by Danielson that he was down before the ball came loose.
Again, they continue to pound Kelvin Anderson. This time he only picks up a couple of yards. Whitehead and Ring in on the tackle, but you need to continue to feature your back. That allows Danielson and the other receivers to do the things that he had done on the previous play. Locks those linebackers in. They need to think about stopping Kelvin Anderson.
So 2nd and 2 for a touchdown. Kelvin Anderson, cutback, touchdown, Calgary.
Really no mystery what they were doing offensively here. Just turned, handed the ball to Kelvin Anderson behind that big offensive front. And Kelvin just slid to the crease and got in really unmolested. Had a little bump, but went in standing up for the touchdown.
7th rushing touchdown of the year for Anderson, 9th overall.
And the Calgary Stampeders lead 5-0.
Runs through a slight effort there, but McGriggs is over too late to make a play on Anderson.
Mark McLaughlin to add the extra point. And the Calgary Stampeders have a 10-point lead here early in the second quarter. Sluggish start for the Stampeders with the win in the opening quarter, but they finally have that offense in gear, and the touchdown drive capped by Kelvin Anderson's 2-yard run. Third leading rusher in the CFL.
For a grand prize, courtesy of our friends at Canadian Airlines.
A couple of big catches by Danielson in the drive. And 4 minutes, 9 seconds. Chewed up along the way. Here's Yanel Jourdain for Hamilton. The former Buffalo Bill drilled as he got to the 35-yard line. Aldi Henry with the hit on Jourdain.
Well, Kelvin Anderson just slides it right here. He's gonna find his crease right in here. There it is. Just slide to the hole.
Hey, Aldi, come here, Aldi. Come here, baby.
Well over 1,000 yards last year and closing in this season. There are the numbers of James Sykes, the last Stampeder running back to do just that. Ricky Foggy trying to get the Ticat offense going, and Archie Amerson has 5 to 6 yards on his carry.
Well, Amerson is as important, if not more important, to this offense as Kelvin Anderson is to the Calgary Stampeders. They must get Amerson involved. He ran for 139 yards against his team 3 weeks ago. But when he can't run the football, he can catch it, too. Getting the ball out. He had 102 yards receiving last week.
Yeah, Emerson was unable to get it going on the ground last week. 8 carries minus 5 yards, but he was lethal catching the football. Second down, and Foggy drills that to Prince Wembley for a first down at the 50.
Boy, what a nice catch in traffic by Prince Wembley with Kenton Leonard draped all over him. Foggy's just going to take a 3-step drop, and he's going to throw the ball on a slant route inside. Jermaine Miles, Ernie Brown coming on the play to tattoo the quarterback, but a good hard throw to the inside, and his receiver, Prince Wembley, made a nice catch.
There's Jermaine Miles setting his sights on Foggy. First down. Fake to Amerson, and now Foggy comes back to the near side, and that ball knocked down. Nice play by Kenton Leonard, intended for Wembley.
You know, Kenton Leonard has really stepped up his play. He was benched a few weeks ago because they felt like he was kind of playing indifferently out on the field, really not into things, and he's come back with a vengeance. Played very well the last couple of weeks. He leads his team in knockdowns. That's his 10th of the season, and that was a super play because Foggy had broken contain and actually had Wembley open on the sideline. Kenton Leonard fought back and made the play.
It is 2nd and 10 for the Cats at the Hamilton.
So Foggy looks at 2nd and 10. And Foggy mishandles the shotgun snap and is dropped back at the 45.
He does manage to fall on it for a loss of about 6 yards.
Well, every quarterback that lines up in the shotgun has a tendency to take his eyes and look down the field and kind of look to see if you can catch the football with your peripheral vision. And I kind of wonder, that one just kind of got on Foggy. That was like the high inside fastball, and he just couldn't fight it off, hit him in the shoulder, and just had to get back on it so he didn't turn it over.
Jammed him. Well, Osbaldiston near his average on the year as flags fly, punting against the wind in the first quarter. Looks like Farrell Duclair was offside for Calgary.
This is one of the areas that's, I think, driving Wally Buono crazy is his special teams keep making mistakes. This one's not going to cost him.
Calgary number 28, still 3rd down.
This won't cost them, but you'll see right in the middle, they're going to get a jump offside. Farrell Duclair gets pulled off. But those are things that if it's 3rd and 5 now, you give up a first down. And those are things that concentration really comes into play here.
Marvin Coleman, the lone man back. And again, the big rush. Coleman dropped the ball and drops on it at the 18.
19-yard line.
So 42-yard punt, and that wind doesn't seem to be much of a factor here in the second quarter now. We're in Calgary at McMahon Stadium, and the Stamps are on top.
All right, Stampeders.
Brunzell Miller right here. He's lined up on Blaine Schmidt. If we run the play, you're going to see he takes a couple steps, freezes Blaine Schmidt, drops off. Blaine chases him. Jermaine Miles comes in. Great shot on Foggy. This is what you want to do at an offensive line, create confusion.
Now Calgary goes to work Chris Walby, and it's Kelvin Anderson who scored on that last touchdown drive by the Stampeders. And a good gain off the right side as Kelvin Anderson closing in now on 1,000 yards.
Now this offense is going to stay with the no huddle. They're going to get shut down here because Jake Ireland and the refereeing crew is going to have to measure for a first down. Nope, you're not going to measure. They just wanted to get the substitution in, but he wanted to stay with the no huddle, but because it was such a short yardage situation, they got their short yardage group in the ball game.
2nd and 1. Anderson already 9 carries, 37 yards, 10th carry, and he'll have a first down across the 30.
Kelvin Anderson is 10th carry of the ball game.
The thing I like about Kelvin Anderson is he understands the situations he's put in. On first down, he realized he's running to daylight, trying to find himself a hole, using his athletic ability, maybe dancing a little bit. This time he realizes, hey, I have to extend the drive. There's a yard I need to pick up. I'm going to have to take a shot, but I'm going north and south to get the chains moved. You see these teams in the West working their ground game because they realize that's going to be important when it comes November, drive to the cup.
Yeah, we saw Eric Blunt yesterday in Winnipeg. Calgary 5th in the league in rushing, but now starting to turn it up offensively.
And a flag.
And a penalty marker down.
Dwayne Ford pulled Montford.
Offside. Hamilton number 53. Still first down.
Some of these real good fullbacks, and this right up here, that right there is Dwayne Ford. He moves. Normally he attacks the line of scrimmage, and that kind of screwed up Montford there. And Montford saw the movement. He reacted to the movement. All it was motion across the formation.
So 1st and 5.
First and 5 at the 35.
Anderson. And Anderson up to the 40 has another first down. Justin Ring with the tackle for the Tiger Cats. Extra import on the defensive line for Hamilton, so Ring balances that off as a Canadian linebacker.
Well, Anderson hits it up in there for 5, and Gonzalo Floyd comes over, makes a tackle, and he immediately gets up and starts waving at the Calgary bench like, no, not in here. Well, when you're making the tackle 6 yards down the field, that's exactly what they want to be doing. So you better go back and rethink what you got going.
A couple of links short. And it's almost like a free play for the Stampeders. Kelvin Anderson now 15 yards away from 1,000. I wondered, did a quarterback almost like to get a free play like this?
Yeah, this is a shot for Garcia to really pop one in. Fake one to Anderson. He's been running so well, and maybe get Terry Vaughn streaking down the field and get him the football. But they're in a short yardage setup. This would have to be more of a gadget play here than an actual play from their main offense.
Jeff Garcia's hit on 5 straight passes, but he's just going to get the first down.
Number 7, Jeff Garcia, the quarterback keeper.
Lunging forward.
Rolls for close to 3 yards.
So it's been all Calgary in this first half. 10-1 in first downs, 10-0 on the scoreboard.
This is a Hamilton defense that only allows 20 first downs a game, already 10 for Calgary. Tony Marciano and the offense really got it going.
Number 2 in the league in yards gained, and boy, they're staying with Anderson. It's almost as if they're trying to get that business out of the way, because Calgary doesn't usually run the football this much.
I think they realize the premium that's put on running the football, like we've said, as they get into the playoffs, and that's something they want to work on, and they realize that this is a good, solid defense. You're going to have to break it down bit by bit, break down that defensive front, get the ground game going. They've got such active linebackers. Now that ties the linebackers up to stop the run, and then he can get Danielson, Pitts, and everybody else involved.
2nd and 8, and Anderson lines up as a wide out to the near side. And he comes back and gets that little dump pass, and he's tripped up by Justin Ring and was able to fight his way to the first down stick.
Yeah, what a super effort by Kelvin Anderson. Anderson gets the screen. It's going to be the screen to the bottom of the screen, but he fights through the tackle of Justin Ring and picks up the first down. Kelvin Anderson is down here. You see, three-man rush, which means it's zone. Good block there from Dwayne Ford, and now it's just Kelvin Anderson keeping his knee off the ground and fighting for a first down. Super effort.
Keeps it going for the Stampeders at the Calgary 54. And another flag goes down, this time too much time. Let's join Chris.
One of the reasons short yardage works is you got to have leg drive. Watch Chris Burns here come off the line of scrimmage on Willie Whitehead. Legs are driving. Keep your legs driving. Keep your legs driving. That's how you defeat a defensive line right there.
5-yard penalty back to the
Chris
49.
Burns,
First and 15.
ex-teammate of mine. He's one of the excitable types. He's like Walby. He gets fired up in there, wants to punch, fight, and all that kind of stuff.
No wonder Walby noticed him there. Here's Garcia going up top, and a jump ball, and Stamps have it. How about Travis Moore catching that ball in a real dogfight with Orlando Steinauer? 37 yards. Steinauer, the leading interceptor in the league, thought he should have had number 8.
Well, the only thing Orlando doesn't do here is knock the ball down. He plays coverage perfectly. Garcia put the ball up, hoping his guy would make a play, and he did. Travis Moore went up over the top on a tip ball to make the catch, and Travis stays down after just a super effort to make the catch. See, Garcia really loads it up, and the ball's underthrown, and Steinauer's in perfect position in front of the defensive, or in front of the wide receiver, but just doesn't knock it down. Moore stays with it. Great concentration from Travis Moore.
And while they attend to Moore, Jeff Garcia is able to confer on the sidelines with Danny Barrett and Tony Marciano. And Travis Moore now to his feet after a circus catch here at McMahon. Travis Moore's a little sore right now, but he's come up with the biggest play of the game so far. 37-yard catch.
Well, super catch on the tip ball. Travis is going to come down right on his tailbone. This is why guys hate to play on AstroTurf. Just no give, and the little bruise on the tailbone. He'll be back in the game.
Stampeders offense is driving. Already 66 yards, and Garcia kept the ball himself on the option, and inside the 15 has 6 more. And temper's getting short. There's Walby's friend involved, and Lamar McGreg's. And McGreg's really steamed. Not sure who McGreg's is trying to get at. But he's heading off to cool down.
Well, no penalty has been assessed, so Lamar just going off to cool off, as you said. You wouldn't want to lose a player like that, but obviously something that very upsetting Lamar McGreg's inside the pile there.
2nd and 4. Anderson stopped up initially, and down he'll go. Kelvin Tiggle will finish him off. Chris?
Well, I'll tell you, one of the reasons Lamar McGreg's is angry is watch this play. Watch Vince Danielson, the slot back at the bottom of your screen, come across, hits him, puts his hand in his face mask, and pushes the helmet off his head. That will upset anybody, and I know Lamar McGreg's took exception to that hit.
Well, he certainly took exception to the fact that he grabbed his face mask and ripped his helmet off. I think he didn't have a problem so much with the hit as it was taking his helmet off and ripping it off his head. That should have been flagged. Danielson with an illegal play there, but that's in the trenches there, and that's hard to pick up. I'm sure our own Chris Walby has been in some situations like that. Of course, he never touched another man's face mask.
Here's Mark McLaughlin, who had one blocked, and whoops. So moving along the line, and this could move it 5 yards further into Hamilton territory and give Wally Bono an extra option. It is 3rd and 8.
Offside. Hamilton number 36. Still 3rd down.
And now it'll be 3rd and 3. Mark McLaughlin had a field goal blocked in Edmonton last week on the final play of regulation time. Taking his 30th on the season. Dave Dickinson is the holder. And McLaughlin adds to Calgary's lead. 3:49 to play in the first half at McMahon, and a 13-point Calgary advantage. Let's join Mark Lee.
Chris, I just talked with Ticat quarterback Ricky Foggy. He tells me there's a residue on some of the footballs here that has not been rubbed off. That comes with a ball when it's brand new, and with the cool temperatures here, it's making it hard to handle. I asked him about the game plan. He said, look for us to try to establish the run and throw some quick hits to relieve pressure.
They are celebrating.
Why does this always happen to Hamilton quarterbacks? I mean, Anthony Calvillo had this trouble in Montreal, and Al Foggy left side, and Jourdain can't pull it down.
Pass intended for number 33, Yonel Jourdain, is incomplete.
Oh, Ricky tries to tether this ball in there, and it acted like he was trying to throw it to his 3-year-old son here. I don't know what, he needs to put a little on the football and stick it on. Look how he just kind of glides the ball out here, and Jourdain's waiting, and it's high, and he's got people coming trying to rip his head off. He'd probably like to see the ball stuck on him a little sooner than that.
Well, after rolling it up on Winnipeg last week, yardage-wise, just 32 yards for Hamilton in this first half. And Ricky Foggy pulls it down, and he just got down in time as Anthony McClanahan was headhunting.
Well, again, a 3-man rush from Calgary on 2nd and long, and this really isn't a play that's conducive to this situation. You need to have an opportunity to get against man coverage, but Foggy and the Ticats will be punting.
Back to Calgary, where the Stampeders lead the Ticats 13-0 with 3:04 to go in the half. Here's one of the new game balls I was talking about. If you rub your fingers on it, you can feel the slickness. Can you see it? Trust me, you can feel it. And I'm told that some quarterbacks have these balls rubbed down for an hour before a game just so they get it right. Boys?
Well, that punt went off the side of Paulus Baldiston's foot, but there is a flag down. I don't think Jeff Garcia is having much trouble with that football.
No, but Mark Lee's right. The quarterbacks do have a problem with that, and even the kickers have a problem with the ball being real stiff and hard and no pliability to it, if we can say it that way. But we had our kickers in Sacramento and San Antonio.
Major foul, face mask, Calgary number 41, first down.
Anthony McClanahan.
Another bad penalty on special teams, but our kickers in San Antonio and Sacramento used to take the balls, rub them down with alcohol, and then used to put them in a dryer and turn the dryer on and let them roll for about an hour.
Oh, so they need some of that Mississippi mud, the baseball.
So there's been a lot of doctoring of the balls. And on a crisp day, it's a little cool. It's crisp here. The wind's a little cool. The ball, because of the packaging, gets a little slick because your hand, you can't generate any moisture in your hand. It gets a little slick. But like you said, Jeff Garcia really hasn't had much problem with it.
Well, the Stampeders, led by Garcia, touchdown on the second to last drive. And last time he had the football, they drove into range for a field goal. The reverse, and now Garcia looks deep. Anybody there? And it falls incomplete. Rob Hitchcock might have had the best shot at it. He got tangled with Eric Carter. Here again, Mark Lee.
But it falls incomplete.
Here's what's coming up at halftime here from Calgary. A special report on the top Canadians in this league. We'll look at some of the young men who are up and coming and making a name for themselves. Homegrown players across the country. Guys who looked up to the Russ Jacksons and the Tony Gabriels of yesteryear. We'll also have the first half analysis.
Second and 10 from 35.
I'm not sure if one of those homegrown players was the intended receiver here. Vince Danielson was in the neighborhood. And Terry Vaughn. Second and 10. Garcia over the middle, and Alan Pitts has the catch. Dropped the football. And Pitts looks like he'll be short of the first down after a gain of 8.
We talked about how smart Danielson is. Watch Alan Pitts work back to his quarterback. Watch him keep coming, and the ball, he comes right back to the football, doesn't allow McGriggs to undercut him and steal the football. Just a great job of helping out his quarterback.
Alan Pitts infuriated with the spot that leaves Calgary a couple of yards short of the first down. 13-0 in a half dominated by the Stampeders. With 2:41 to go, Hamilton's going to get the ball back, and if they could get anything going, they might be able to salvage at least something in this first half.
Tony Martino stands at his own 30.
Got a great kick by Martino. And Rogers. Driven back
Rogers, number 30, out of the third.
Before he got to the 40, and a flag is down.
It's a return of about 8 and a flag.
Well, just a reminder, you can join us on the internet, get highlights, up-to-date CFL information, and vote for the Grey Cup you'd like to see. We're going to replay 5 of the great Grey Cup games during Grey Cup week.
Major foul. Calgary number 9. Face mask. First down.
Now, this is amazing, Chris, because last week, Aldi Hendry was flagged twice for face mask penalties against Edmonton. He gets flagged again here, and, you know, this guy is used on special teams exclusively, and you start making mistakes like this and costing your team field position, you got to begin to wonder whether he remains on the ball club. Those are the kind of things that really infuriate a coach as he's standing there talking to Wally Buono now.
He's not going to want to stand there very long. Well, it gives Hamilton a chance to get back in the football game. They start from midfield. Foggy hangs on and then whips the pass. The pass by Emerson incomplete.
Well, Marvin Pope, the big daddy, makes the play. He just steps in front and disrupts the timing of Ricky Foggy. He wanted to make a quick play fake to Jourdain and stick Emerson right now, but because Pope was upfield so quickly, it disrupted the timing and allowed McClanahan to get back, and had Emerson caught the football, McClanahan would have been all over him.
Well, it's been a frustrating afternoon so far for the Hamilton Tiger Cats offensively. And Tim Prinzen is shaken up. The left guard.
Now, this is his 6th start. He's the number one pick in the Canadian draft this year out of North Dakota. He's really come on and played well. He and Colin Quinley have switched off at that left guard position. They've really been happy with the way Princeton has played. He's one of the young guys they're hoping to hang their hat on down the road in this offensive line.
But how do you figure last week they rolled it up? There's Quinney, who checks in. You know, they had offensive success. Urban Bowman talked about continuity, and finally the Tiger Cats are putting the same people on the field back-to-back weeks, and yet just not getting anything going today.
Well, they had the young guys. They're trying to play the young guys at the left guard position, and Princeton's going outfield. Looked like he may have gotten the bell rung a little bit or something, but he'll be back in the ball game. But the young guys have been trying to play this left guard, Quinney and Princeton. They've been trying to nail that down. The huge injury to Jude St. John, their left tackle, made Val St. Germain have to switch over from his position on the right side to play left side, and then Joe Burgos has finally come in and anchored down the right tackle position. So they finally started to work out some of those problems up front.
Second and 10, Tiger Cats. And Ricky Foggy stands in, fires, and Marvin Coleman with airtight coverage of Bert Thornton.
Well, super coverage by Marvin Coleman. Great pickup by the blitz up front. You know, Jourdain steps up and helps his quarterback out. The offensive line do a great job, but Marvin Coleman is all over Bert Thornton on that play. Oh, Coleman just plays it perfectly. Didn't bite on the up the field move. It was a comeback route. Coleman was right in Thornton's pocket and made a super play. I believe he's all Canadian. I think he's an all CFL corner.
Well, talk here in Calgary is he may be the MVP of this team. They have not had a defensive player win that award since 1989. And here is Coleman. And he's up to the 18-yard line, a 45-yard punt by Osbaldiston.
Lane Schmidt, number 54.
Well, I mentioned this is a tough place to win if you're wearing the visitors' uniforms.
Oh, 93 and 94 were undefeated here at McMahon, and I came up with my teams from California, and we took it on the chin a couple of times here in McMahon Stadium. This is really a very tough place to play. The crowd, as you said, Chris, is always here, always in force, always dressed to kill, as they are today.
It's been quite a reign for Wally Buono in the 90s here. Jeff Garcia has a pass batted down.
Down at the line of scrimmage.
Gonzalo Floyd, the former Stampeder.
Second down.
You know, Gonzalo Floyd was originally going to play the short inside. Willie Whitehead has done such a great job at filling and really kind of pushed Floyd off the field. Floyd had got a little banged up early in the year, was starting, and Whitehead got on the field and they couldn't get him off, and now they've been able to get Floyd back on in the place of the injured Mike Campbell, and he's played well.
Urban Bowman still says that's not his best position, and we got to find somewhere to play Floyd. Got a lot of good athletes on defense. Garcia, 2nd and 10. Travis Moore, look at him go. Moore breaks a couple of tackles to keep the drive going with under 2 minutes remaining. A gain of 19.
Well, Travis Moore does a lot of the dirty work on this offense. He comes underneath. That's the area that a lot of receivers don't like to go into. The over-the-middle plays. You see Moore's coming right into the middle. And a lot of times the linebackers are in there waiting for you. And he takes several shots from Tiggle and McGriggs. Hitchcock goes over the top. Super play again by Travis Moore.
He still has a shot at 1,000 yards. Now it's 787. Garcia running around. Jeff Garcia up to the 45. And he'll be a couple of yards short after an 8-yard pickup.
Oh, going back to Travis Moore and the catch that he made. You know, since Pitts has come, we talked about how much Pitts has helped. We watched Garcia scramble and pick up some good yardage to put it in a 2nd and 2 situation. But Moore is a guy that really hasn't benefited from Pitts being here. Without Pitts, he had 36 receptions in 7 games. But with 8 games with Pitts here, only 22 receptions. He's one of the guys that's been left out of the fold since Alan Pitts came back.
Saw a good block by the center, Jamie Crysdale, in the last play. And now there is Pitts. First down at midfield, 1:22 to go in the half. And Garcia's got them moving again. There's an outside shot Calgary could have for 1,000-yard receivers. Danielson's there. Bond close.
Alan Pitts is just going to run a slant, play fake, holds the linebackers. Now it allows a throwing lane for Garcia. And very accurate throw. Nothing Vaughn can do there. Pitts had him on his back. All he can do is make the tackle. First down.
Pitts would need a monster game to help get him to 1,000 after his late start to the season. There's the fake by Garcia and the screen to Ford. And that was snuffed out immediately. There's Justin Ring.
Tackled right away by number 36, Justin Ring, a gain of maybe a yard.
Now those linebackers work on reading line play, and when they see the line set and then start to release, they think screen, and they try to find the screen back. Justin Ring smelled that one out right away.
Yep, Ford got only 2.
Stampeders at the 54.
Dennis McPhee looking on, trying to make sure the defense doesn't give up any more. Garcia over the middle, there's Pitts sliding safe at the 40 as they keep it going. 13 more for Pitts.
13 yards, Garcia to Pitts for a Stampeder first down.
Alan Pitts continues to help his quarterback out. When it seems like Garcia scrambles, Alan Pitts is always the guy coming back to the football. Allen moves into is the number 4 all-time receiver behind some pretty good names. Elgard, Kelly, and Scott, all those guys were super players.
Now just needs 20 more to move into 3rd place ahead of Tommy Scott. This time it's Danielson, and he's down at the 28, and Garcia now with surgeon-like precision using these final 2 minutes, and he's going to use his timeout as they're moving on this last-minute drive.
It's a gain of 12.
Now, these are the throws they have to take away from Garcia. They're allowing him to throw the ball inside. Travis Moore caught one inside. Pitts caught one inside. And now Danielson catches one inside. These are the easy throws to the quarterback. They'd like to see him throw the ball to the outside. Allows the defense to react quick.
Vince Danielson now 6 yards away from 1,000. Would be the first in his career. 7 catches last week, a couple of touchdowns against the Eskimos. And came into today's game tied for 4th in catches in the league, so he's responded brilliantly to the task of replacing Dave Sapungis in the Calgary offense. 1st and 10 to go for Calgary, 6 receivers out. And Garcia wide open, there's Danielson, and he's down to the 1. So Vince Danielson has his 1,000-yard season, and the Stampeders are a yard away from another touchdown.
As soon as substitutions are made here, this clock will begin to wind. Only 19 seconds left. Garcia trying to get everybody deployed. They've gone to a short yardage group. They'd like to get a couple plays off here if they can.
Clock running. Dozen seconds to go. Garcia himself, and he'll be stopped up short. Justin Ring with the first contact. Don Garcia. What a great year for Vince Danielson out of UBC.
With that last catch of 27 yards has gone over 1,000.
Well, they're gambling here that they're going to punch it in because they're not going to get this off in time to set up for a field goal.
Should be the final play of the half.
First and goal from the 1.
The pitch to Duclair. He'll throw it into the end zone. Touchdown, Dwayne Ford.
That's just a super call in that situation. Who would have thought Farrell Duclair would throw the football? Dwayne Ford was usually the lead back in this short yardage situation. He goes right into linebacker as if he's going to block and then slips out into the flat. Garcia with the option pitch to Duclair, and then Duclair's shot puts it into the end zone to Dwayne Ford for the touchdown.
Yeah, he hasn't been watching Dave Archer how-to tapes.
Oh, this is just a good... Watch Garcia get out and get a block. Jeff Garcia gets the block on Orlando Steinauer, which gave Duclair just a little bit more time, and that's the element of surprise there.
McLaughlin adds the extra point. So the half dominated by the Calgary Stampeders, especially the second quarter. And it ends with Vince Danielson going over 1,000 yards and a 20-0 Calgary lead.
Glorious October day for football here on Thanksgiving weekend, and it's all Calgary in the first half. The Stamps leading Hamilton 20-0 after one half of football. Well, the Canadian Football League might indeed be the only major league in North America that hands out an award each year based on nationality. Yes, the most outstanding Canadian is singled out in a Canadian league dominated by American players. Canadians are the bedrock of the CFL, hard-working, but increasingly on the periphery of the game. The legends of Canadian football, and they've left a rich history in this country, records and championships to inspire the next generation of homegrown players of three-down football.
Oh, yeah. Now that was air nothing, pal.
I spent a lot of time with my dad out in the wintertime and catching footballs in the snow, and one of my favorite things to do would be to run out and try to keep your toes in balance on the sidelines and fall into a snowbank.
I used to come to the games when I was a kid with my family and you know, watch Tom Clemens and Dieter Brock and all the old quarterbacks, and always dreamed about playing for Hamilton. And 3 years ago, I got my shot at it and been there ever since.
I started playing football my sophomore year in high school, and actually against my parents' will. And they finally let me, because the coaches would always badger them to let me play, and so finally I started playing. And then one thing led to another, and then I, you know, was offered scholarships to university and accepted. Went and played in college, and it's just kind of snowballed from there.
But a shrinking Canadian quota has limited Canadian positions on the depth chart. For the most part, they are the blockers and backups for their American teammates.
I played 4 years, all through high school at quarterback, got a scholarship at quarterback, 4 years at university. It came to my draft year, my 4th year, and I kind of looked, you know, I looked at the league, I looked ahead and said, you know, there's not a lot of opportunity to play as a Canadian quarterback. And I knew that if I was going to make it, I would have to come in, show I was an athlete. So I waived my draft year to my 5th year. I played slot back. I showed the versatility. And, you know, Calgary saw that. And I came in here, and Wally said to me the first day, listen, you're not going to play quarterback here. And I said, phew, you know.
Former Calgary Dino Don Blair is among the few Canadians at wide receiver, and he's proud of it.
I just didn't want to play. I wanted to, you know, be a contributor and be a star in this league, and that's still my goal. You know, I stand back with Giz and return punts, and the crowd goes crazy, and all I hear is Giz and all Giz and all, and you know, and part of that gets me. You know, part of that sort of fires me up a little bit and says, you know, one of these days you're gonna, you know, they're gonna know who I am, and right now they don't, but that's gonna change.
One of those young Canadians, Vince Danielson of the Stampeders, establishing his credentials here today, going over 1,000 yards in a season for the first time in his career. And his Stampeders have a lock on this one after the half. It's 20-0 Calgary. The Hamilton Tiger Cats broke a 9-game losing streak 1 week ago at home, but they've yet to show up here in Calgary, down 20-0 to the hometown Stampeders at the half. Well, we're planning something awfully special for Grey Cup week this year in Edmonton. During the week, we will celebrate the game by presenting in their entirety 5 classic Grey Cups of all time. Now, we have narrowed the list down to 10, and we're asking fans to help us narrow that down to the final 5. There you see the picks that the CFL on CBC commentators have selected. We ran into Russ Jackson yesterday here. He's a commentator for the Hamilton radio, and he was putting in a word for the 68 Grey Cup. Of course, when he and Margene Atkins and Vic Washington beat the Stampeders 24-21. And Chris Walby, who's in our EVS suite today, looking behind the scenes, continues to lobby for 1988 when he won. What's he got for us now behind the scenes?
Thank you, Mark. Hey, it may be 20-0 here in Calgary on this beautiful Thanksgiving Day, but there's still a lot of action happening on the field, and here are some of the highlights I picked from the first half. Take a look at Roger Ryanson, leading special team tackler for the Stampeders, going downfield. Now, he's got 24 tackles coming into this game. He's 3rd in the league, but he has to realize you must never, ever let up, because as he starts to slow up right here, he's going to get a wake-up call. Here comes the turkey pace by Kennever. That's how you get basted. Take a look at this play. You want to stop the run? Calvin Anderson hasn't had a whole lot of yards rushing. Mike Philbrick, take 2 people, allow Calvin Tingle to come in and make the play. That's how you stop Anderson from rushing for a lot of yards. Another play we like to do here as an offensive line is to shift. Try and draw the defensive lineman offside. They do that. They get both Philbrick and Eric Carter, get another opportunity to kick the field goal. And my last highlight, the one that I like right here, take a look at this. We got a counter play. You think it's tough in the pits? Watch Princeton goes down, cuts Jermaine Miles, but no, Jermaine Miles hits him on the ankle, puts him out. This is a rough sport, people. This is what it's all about. Thanksgiving Monday, a lot of turkey plays, a lot of things happening. Back to you, Mark.
All right, Chris Walby, with the plays behind the scenes, he loves the trenches, doesn't he?
Let me get this straight. He wants the 88 Grey Cup, and we're not going to let him have it? I mean, who's telling him no?
Yeah, I'm not, that's for sure. Hey, listen, what about the Ticats? Speaking of turkeys, boys, no points in the first half. What do they got to do to get back in this one?
Well, it's difficult. They've got a poor record. They're struggling on offense. They've played super defense. They've just been on the field a lot. They need to come out and just establish some short things. Just move the chains. I think when you start thinking about trying to get back, there's no 20-point play in the whole game, so they just got to get back bit by bit.
2 first downs. Their net yards in the first half, 10.
So, well, Ricky Foggy was talking to me about the slippery ball, and if that's an excuse, so be it, but he certainly has not been passing with authority. Here's the address, folks. If you're going to vote on our classic Grey Cups of all time, get out your pen and paper, write in as often as you'd like, and don't forget Chris Walby's plea for that '88 Grey Cup game. We're back with the second half of this game from Calgary just after this.
Here are the Canadian Tire halftime stats. I'm not sure we've seen them as lopsided as this year.
Well, Calgary's a good defense, but this is ridiculous. Hamilton just come out and not even shown up on offense. They've given up 18 first downs on defense, but that's because they've been on the field so long. Jeff really has operated at a high level today. He's got Anderson involved, Pitts, and his boys are all there. You see everybody is involved. The probably surprising thing is that Terry Vaughn has only caught one pass, and he'll probably see a couple more before this is over with. So they've operated extremely well. Jeff's gotten everybody involved, and that's when Calgary's offense actually works its best, is when he distributes the football and gets everyone involved, including the running game and Kelvin Anderson. And
this is what kind of afternoon it's been. It's halftime, and we're signing autographs.
Oh, like we said, he's getting everybody involved. You know things are going your way if you're signing autographs at halftime.
Well, 3 long scoring drives for Calgary. Hamilton won the toss but deferred to get the win in the fourth quarter. I thought they'd be anxious to get the football and get something going, but instead it's Marvin Coleman. And look at Coleman flying up to the 50 before he's hauled down by Ken Abraire. 35-yard return for Coleman. And it was a Marvin Coleman kickoff in the final minute of the game 3 weeks ago that really put the Stampeders in position to come back and win that game.
Well, he leads the league in average. He averages 24 yards a return, and he shows you why. He gets good blocking from the other players on the field and then finds the crease and gets up the field. But you're right, the big kickoff late in that ball game set up the win. Now he's giving them great field position to start the second half.
Jeff Garcia threw for more in the first half against Hamilton than in the 60 minutes of the opening meeting between these two teams. And Garcia looking for more. Kelvin Anderson can't hang on at the Hamilton 35.
Well, that's a mismatch there for Hamilton's defense, for Calgary's offense, when they get Justin Ring isolated on Kelvin Anderson. Ring just he didn't really seize the ball coming. Anderson tries to adjust back to the ball thrown towards the sideline, and he'd be the first guy to tell you probably should have come up with the catch. But this is part of that killer instinct on offense. They let Edmonton come back. They come right out throwing to not allow Hamilton a shot.
Anderson on 2nd and 10, and he's hauled down by Ring at the 54.
Number 36, who makes another tackle.
Close to 5 on the carry, but it will be 3rd down. Stampeders with an 89-yard touchdown drive, a 92-yard drive, and they also went 78 yards in 9 plays in the first half for a field goal. So this Hamilton offense has not had the ball very often. Driving punt by Martino. This time Rogers does let it bounce in and through the end zone. And another single point for Tony Martino. That's a 76-yarder, and it's a 21-0 Calgary lead.
You know, I didn't think Jeff Garcia was real pleased about the play. They ran the little counter draw play on 2nd and 10, and he came off shaking his head. He's talking to Danny Barrett there, and Danny's talking about, he mentioned the safety. Obviously, they would like to do something in the little field. Be careful about throwing if the safety's coming down. But I don't think he was happy with the run play on 2nd and 10 on that last series.
1st and 10 for Ricky Foggy and the Hamilton offense.
Well, let's see if Hamilton can get it going in the second half. Archie Amerson.
The ball carrier.
He's nailed just beyond the line of scrimmage. Landry Johnson's in there. Marvin Pope hanging on.
Anthony McClanahan also in on the tackle.
Ricky Foggy being in the game changes their game plan, obviously, a little bit.
And Marvin Pope staying down.
Marvin in a little bit of pain after that running play by Archie Amerson.
Marvin
With Anthony
Pope,
Calvillo, they would like to
99
spread the
Stampeders.
field out, put 5 receivers on the field, and then isolate Archie Amerson. But now with Foggy in the game, they're staying 2 backs and doing a little bit more rolling.
And while Pope gets attention, we'll take a timeout here in Calgary. Six-year veteran Marvin Pope, Big Daddy, continues to get attention from Pat Clayton. Jeff Traversy has checked in to replace Pope. And slowly Marvin sitting up. A little concerned when they're looking at the neck.
Well, if it was a serious neck situation, he wouldn't be sitting up like that. I think what they're testing for is a little bit of a burn, or you get a little burn in the shoulder or in the lower neck there, and I think that's what they're checking. If he had a neck problem, they wouldn't be standing him up like that. Marvin Pope is right up here. He's going to shoot inside to try to make this play. You see him knife through and sticks his shoulder in there on Archie Amerson.
91, getting some help to the sideline.
And you get in some really bent over situations when you're falling into a pile. Other bodies are falling on top of you, and it looked like Marvin got twisted a little bit, and a couple of players fell on top of him.
So slowly Marvin Pope makes his way to the Calgary bench.
Down, 7 yards to go.
And Jeff Traversy, the rookie, is into the game. And the Ticats looking at 2nd and 7. Foggy stands in, and that hit Darrell Hall, intended for Archie Amerson out of the backfield.
Right on Darrell Hall's back. It's incomplete.
Well, the ball was thrown behind the receiver, but the receiver never really gives an angle to throw the football for Ricky Foggy. Amerson has to snap that route up the field, establish himself going vertically, and then break to the sideline, allow Ricky Foggy to get set and throw the ball. He was already to the sidelines before Ricky was ready to unload it. You have to throw that one on the rookie's shoulders, the young running back.
Balduson's been busy. Rush on, and he barely got it away. Coleman on one hop, and away he goes. Marvin Coleman, and he was just tripped up by Cooper Harris, or Coleman may have scored. Marvin Coleman comes up smiling, and everything's going the Stampeders' way. That was a 32-yard return.
Archie Amerson has had a super rookie year, but he let his quarterback down, I believe, on this last play. Archie Amerson is in the slot right here. What he needs to do is come up the field, establish himself vertically, and then break to the sideline. Give his quarterback some time to throw, but watch Darrell Hall get the jam. Pushes him towards the sideline now. When he breaks to the sideline, there's no room. Quarterback doesn't have any area to throw the football in.
Short field for the Stampeders, starting at the Hamilton 41, and Garcia looking for all of it to Pitts, touchdown. Jeff Garcia, Alan Pitts, 41 yards.
Oh, we had a shot of Garcia talking to Danny Barrett on the sidelines a few minutes ago, and you have to kind of wonder if this isn't what they were discussing. He said, make sure you watch where the safety goes. The safety was out of the play, and he went over the top to Alan Pitts. I have to think that this is what Danny Barrett was talking about with Alan Pitts and Jeff Garcia.
For Alan Pitts, it's his 88th career touchdown, and that ties Tom Scott for second on the all-time CFL touchdown receiving list.
Rob Hitchcock doesn't get enough depth. Number 42, the free safety, that's his ball. The halfback has to know he has help to the inside from his free safety.
Mark McLaughlin adds the point after, and the Stamps up their lead to 28-0. Well, he's going to the Hall of Fame, and he's closing in on Brian Kelly. 5 catches on the afternoon, 87 yards.
Well, Alan Pitts upgrades this team just so much. There's so many things that people have to defend against because he's in the lineup. His ability to go down the field as he displays here, his ability to read coverage. He makes all the tough catches. Good throw from Garcia to hit him in stride. He made the great catch 3 weeks ago against Hamilton to win the football game for him, essentially give him a chance to get the ball in the end zone on a Garcia quarterback sneak. But a good read by Garcia. He saw that the free safety was not in the middle of the field where he needed to be, and Alan Pitts split the seam, and the ball was right on the money.
He may be number one on all the receiving categories before his career is over. Yonel Jourdain, and Jourdain breaks through. Finally pulled down by Al Jordan at the 50-yard line. Here's Chris Walby.
Well, guys, let me tell you something. When you're up 27-0, you can do a lot of things on defense. You can have some fun. Watch Jeff Traversy in the bubble here. You can run in a line stunt. Bronzell and Brown come inside. He loops around. He's causing all kinds of confusion to the offensive line of Hamilton, causing them problems. They can't pass. They can't run.
And Jourdain got 40 of that back on the kickoff.
And now Jeff Traversy down. He came in to replace Marvin Pope in the last defensive series. And Marvin is at the Calgary bench and still shaking off the effects of his injury. Alan Pitts has played in this just his 9th game of the year, so he's at the halfway point of his season. He's over 700 yards receiving, 7 touchdowns now on the year, so that's not a bad half year's work.
That's phenomenal. He's come in and he's actually averaging more yards per catch than he's averaged throughout his career at 18 yards a reception.
Here again, Mark Lee.
Chris, there's Marvin Pope convalescing on the Stampeder bench. They've just removed a large ice pack from the back of his neck. The early prognosis is that it's a muscle injury in the back of the neck, but as you can see, he's in quite a bit of discomfort and having a hard time keeping his head upright.
So the Stampeders getting a little thin on the defensive line at the moment. Traversy, though, bounces up.
As special teams are hard to play, and Jeff Traversy's role on this team has been backup defensive lineman and play a lot of special teams. You know, he and his wife just a month ago had a daughter, Jade. He and his wife, Candace. And he probably hadn't been getting a lot of sleep lately, so that may be he may have decided to just lay down and take a nap for a while.
Well, it's been an area revamped by the Stampeders, their defensive line. This is a team just in the last couple of years has lost Will Johnson, Stu Laird, Harold Hasselback, Rodney Harding, Strucko Zizakovic. So they've gone through some great people in the last couple of years there. And I know Wally Bono says that the CFL is predicated on the pass rush. So there's the rushing of Archie Amerson.
Archie Amerson, number 9, takes the
hit at the end of that play from Anthony McClanahan and a 2-yard pickup
Eddie Davis,
for Amerson.
9, and Anthony McClanahan, number 41.
Just a couple of first downs for Hamilton.
Gain of about
Well, the change up the defensive front was to put Raymond Biggs in the game at the end position. They don't lose a stride. They put Biggs in the ball game. He's 6'1", 218 pounds. He comes in. He's played at linebacker both inside and out, and now playing defensive end a little bit.
Anthony McClanahan back in that defense after missing 2 weeks because of injury. Foggy over the middle and nearly picked through the hands of John Kalem, the safety. Prince Wimbley was the intended receiver. And Kalem would like another shot at that one.
Well, Ricky's got a good arm, but well, he puts a lot of smoke on this one. The reason Kalem doesn't catch this is because it was shot out of a cannon. And it's well overthrown. Wimbley's going to come inside, and the ball just sails right over the top of his head. Kalem just can't corral that one because it's thrown so hard.
9 possessions for the Tiger Cats in the game, 6 times. So they've gone 2 and out. Once again, Osbaldiston hurried on the punt, and Marvin Coleman on the return. At the 25, Obi Spanik, one of the first men down, 9-yard return, 41-yard. Osbaldiston punt, the busiest of the Tiger Cats.
Also promising signs on the Stampeder bench. That's Jeff Traversy up and around. The prognosis from trainer Pat Clayton is that he just had the wind knocked out of him, and there's a good sign. Marvin Pope is up, and he has been loosening up the neck. Good signs for the Stamps, Chris.
Plenty of good signs on the scoreboard, too. And now they take over at their own 25, a 28-0 lead. Here, still early in the third quarter, Kelvin Anderson stripped of the football, and Garcia alertly gets back on it. It's another area where the Stampeders have been impressive this year, Dave. They really have limited the number of giveaways, only 23 on the season. Compare that with Hamilton, and they've turned it over 53 times.
Yeah, what a difference that is. That tells you what kind of record they have. They're plus 16 in the turnover ratio, and this time of year, that's big. Jeff Garcia scrambles back on a ball that was jarred loose by Willie Whitehead.
And they end up getting 4 out of it. 2nd and 6. Short drop, Garcia to Vaughn. Terry Vaughn at the 34 is going to be a yard short. And I hear Wally Buono at the Calgary bench say punt.
Here comes Whitehead at the bottom of the screen, really pushing Romano back into Garcia. He has to jump and throw the football. Had to throw the ball underneath. Good coverage and rallying to the ball. You see Philbrick and Tiggle there, as well as the corner Steinauer.
Your autograph football, courtesy of Tom's House of Pizza.
Buono taking no chances with a comfortable lead. Sam Rogers from the Hamilton 25. And he's down at the 30. Jason Clement, one of the first men down with Aldi Henry. 51-yard punt. And there's a former punter, Wally Buono,
6 on the return.
on his way to his 102nd win. And that would tie him with the legendary Bud Grant. And like Grant, he would have done it all with the same team.
Now, we all know what kind of career Bud Grant had, Hall of Fame career, and I'm sure before Wally's done, we'll probably hear his name mentioned in the same vein.
And next week, Wally Buono will face Don Matthews, who will be trying to become the winningest CFL coach of all time. Ricky Foggy first down, that long out, and Marvin Coleman was in the neighborhood, and he was sizing up an interception.
Coleman was only a step behind.
Well, Ricky's hollering it. Right up here is Bert Thornton. Bert Thornton's going to run an out route on Marvin Coleman, or actually he does a hitch route, a little sit-down route. Now he kind of bails on his quarterback and decides to head upfield. See, that's just a lack of knowledge as to what's going on within the pattern. He already had a receiver down the field in that area. By Bert Thornton going that direction, it eliminated 2 throws for Foggy.
Ricky Foggy 0 for his last 8, and he's misfired on 3 here in the second half. 2nd and 10. Foggy gets it to the wide side of the field, and Prince Wembley has the catch. That'll be close to a first down. Prince Wembley's been really his only target this afternoon.
Look how many Hamilton Ticats are in the same area on this play. Believe me, that's not how the passing game is designed. You need spacing. You need guys at different levels, at different widths. Obviously, the Calgary defense are jamming the receivers where they don't want to go, and you have to credit them for that. They were lucky to get a first down there with all the receivers in the same area.
Prince Wembley has the only completions for Foggy in the game. Ricky Foggy now looking for Moriali, and he can't stretch out to haul it in. Mike Moriali's been a hot receiver in recent weeks. 14 catches, 263 yards in the last 3 games.
No, Moriali does it all for this team. He leads the team in special teams tackles. Had a super game against Calgary 3 weeks ago, but just couldn't quite track down the corner out. Well-thrown ball here by Foggy, just out of the reach of Mike Moriali. Moriali won a Grey Cup ring last year with Toronto, so he knows what it's like to be in the hunt at the end.
2nd and 10. Foggy guns it to Thornton, and that's The most positive play for the Tiger Cats in the afternoon. Bert Thornton with a 29-yard reception to the Calgary 40.
This is a well-thrown ball. Play fake and then throw the backside post route, and Foggy puts the ball right on Bert Thornton. And Thornton does a good job. He stayed wide, kept Coleman outside and away from the safety, allowed him that little crease in there to throw the football. Had the blitz on, you see Kenton Leonard was coming. Archie Amerson picking up the blitzing Anthony McClanahan. There's a nice matchup. 5'8", 175 on 6'2", 220.
Looked like he was tap dancing on McClanahan. I don't know if that's good for your long-term health. Here's Foggy, rolling right and on the move. Picks up a block and another. Oh, Morreale unloaded on Alondra Johnson.
As he steps out of bounds.
Well, Morreale had a nice lick on Alondra Johnson, but Archie Amerson, who was out in the route, comes back and gets a shot on Bronzell Miller. He took on the 220-pound McClanahan on the previous play. This time he's going to take on the 270-pound Bronzell Miller. Remember, this guy's 5'8", 175, super block, and there's the Morreale lick. I tell you, when you get this time of year, I don't care whether you're in the hunt or not, the licks just start getting bigger and bigger.
Does Walby call those basting them?
Yeah,
at least on Thanksgiving. At the 36, the Ticats finally driving. Foggy, and it's almost picked off. Al Jordan.
Incomplete.
Dropped the turkey on that one.
Yes, the ball should have been picked off. Foggy's trying to throw the ball in a hole between the corner and the halfback. Jordan should have picked that off, but now, see, nobody to control Jordan down in the flat, down at the bottom, at the top of your screen there, so it allowed him to fall back and make that play. You need to control him with a route to the flat, but now on 3rd and 5, they're going to go. Foggy wanted to go as soon as the ball was incomplete.
Ticats gambling. Amerson. The swing pass. Archie Amerson is going to be close. Depends on where they rule his forward progress. I think he's there.
John Caleb, number 19.
Well, see, these are the ways you need to use Amerson. He's not able to run the football, but this is just like a run. Swing the football out to him and let him make things happen. He's so good in space. Right there, he makes Darrell Hall miss, who's one of the top tacklers on this team, and he sneaks up there and gets the first down.
5:20 to go, 3rd quarter. And this is the deepest penetration for the Ticats on the afternoon. First down, Foggy, Thornton, and he has it at the 20 in front of Marvin Coleman.
Well, Ricky looks like he's starting to get into a rhythm now, and he looks like he's recognizing coverage. I don't think he was doing that early in the game. He sees this time he has a one-on-one situation with Bert Thornton to the backside on Marvin Coleman. Ball a little tall, but Thornton goes up and catches it. It's been a tough year for Don Blackwell. They're the offensive coordinator for this team. He's had 4 different quarterbacks in the game, and Urban Bowman took over for the Fire Don Southern. It's been a tough year in Hamilton.
3 receivers right side. They go there. Wembley breaks a tackle. Prince Wembley is pushed out at the 5.
What happens to your receivers is all of a sudden they start seeing that, hey, we're getting the football now. The ball's coming out on time. We're catching some balls. We're catching it with room to run. And all of a sudden they start wanting to make some plays for you. And here the ball comes out quickly, gives Wembley a chance to break a tackle. He picks up another block from Morreale. Now they're at the 5.
It's 1st and goal. Hamilton at the goal.
This drive started on the Hamilton 31. First down. Foggy, play action. Has time, wide open. Touchdown, Andrew Gregg. Gregg, who had 2 touchdowns a week ago against Winnipeg, has Hamilton's first score here at McMahon Stadium.
Andrew Gregg has been the forgotten guy on this team. They keep bringing guys in to take his job. He's just going to find a little area in the back of the end zone and sit down for Foggy, and Foggy puts the ball right on him on a rope. The best drive for Ricky Foggy in the game But Andrew Grigg is a guy that I really think could be a factor. Ricky limps off the field, but Andrew Grigg he had 85 yards against Calgary last time these two teams played. He's the holder. That was a career high for him, but I think they need to work him a little bit more into this offense also. Young Canadian player has some skills.
4th touchdown of the year for the Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario native. And Ricky Foggy finally gets untracked. Andrew Grigg, the Ticat touchdown.
It must be great being
Andrew Grigg had a 55-yard touchdown catch last week. This one a 4-yard reception from Ricky Foggy.
Yeah, I just rolled out of stop. He kept running to the
And there is some life in that Hamilton offense.
Yeah, it's good to see them operate at a high level. That was a super drive. Ricky Foggy really distributed the ball, got everybody involved.
Marvin Coleman from his 14. And Coleman swords through to the 33 as we join Mark Lee.
Well, Chris, next Saturday, Molson Hockey Night in Canada offers its usual Saturday night fare beginning at 7 Eastern with Ron McLean in the pregame show. And for Quebec only, one of the hottest teams out of the gate in the Eastern Conference, it's Washington at Montreal. The rest of the country gets Dallas at Toronto for the early game, to be followed by the nightcap. Boston right here in Calgary at the Saddle Dome on the full network later that evening. And where will you be, Chris?
Got the Montreal game, Washington, and we've got Winnipeg, Montreal next week at the Olympic Stadium. See Mike Pringle and company. There's Kelvin Anderson, still trying to nail down 1,000, and he gets 2 more there. Gonzalo Floyd, Gonzo with the tackle.
Gain of 3 yards.
There's Jeff Garcia. The touchdown pass, 260 yards through the air. 3:03 to go in quarter number 3.
Second and 7 at the 36.
And you can see the Moyer brothers working hard in the foreground here, making sure we've got all our accounting right. Second down for Garcia. Look out. Down he goes. Jeff Garcia sacked for the 3rd time today by the Hamilton defense.
And Joe Monfort flies through, looping inside on a line stunt for his 7th sack of the season. He and Willie Whitehead have teamed now for 17 sacks from the 2 ends. So, you know, those 2 guys come to play every week. Monfort, one of those 100-mile-an-hour type players, plays well on special teams and comes inside on a stunt here, and Garcia's got nowhere to go.
Ticat should come out of this with pretty good field position. Sam Rogers from his 33. Good downfield coverage by the Stampeders, led by Roger Reinson. That's Jason Clement, and limits the return to 5 after a 52-yard punt by Tony Martino.
Holding Sam Rogers to just 5 on the return after a 53-yard kick.
Aldi Henry and this special teams group has done a good job of containing a Hamilton return team that really has struggled this year. They've got some good returners. They just have not been able to develop a scheme to allow them to make some plays in that area.
Well, let's see if Hamilton can keep the ball rolling here. After that impressive drive, which started at the 31, they go inside Moriali. And Eddie Davis and Alondra Johnson there with the Calgary tackle.
Eddie Davis.
7 yards to pick up.
Tacklers, number 29.
Well, Kelvin Anderson still needs 7 more.
Well, he needs 7 more today, and I'm sure he'll get there, but he's also got 2 games to go, so I think he's going to establish may have a chance to establish a personal best on the ground in his 2nd year as a Calgary Stampeder.
Second down, short drop. Foggy looking for Wembley. And that one overthrown.
Foggy looking deep for number 82, Chris
So
Whitley.
Foggy now looking to the bench. He wants to go for it on 2nd and
3rd down and 2.
2 yards to go.
Well, Calgary played soft in the last series of downs and allowed Foggy to move the football down the field. Urban Bowman does not want to go for it, and he's waving his team off. Now they come up with an aggressive set. You see, look at how many Calgary Stampeders are around the football. That means they're in a blitz look. That's the free safety up there. Foggy recognizes that and tries to go over the top to Prince Wembley.
Grab your 50-50 tickets, folks.
Too long on the
We have a
throw,
ticket
so
worth almost
Calgary
$8
changed their philosophy and said, hey, we're not going to allow you to move the football down the field on us. We're going to come after you.
Looks like the quarterback, the coach, a little disagreement about whether they should gamble here. Down by 21, a minute 10 to go in the third quarter. Marvin Coleman, and the Cats did not give him the 5 yards, and there'll be a no yards penalty after the 44-yard punt. Well, you're down by 21. There is still a lot of time left. Do you go 3rd and 2 from...
No yards. Hamilton, number 39. First down.
You more of a gambling man than Urban Bowman?
Well, that's right in that area where you would think that you might want to do that. As Gerald Vaughn is flagged for no yards, and that's really not a bad, ends up not being a bad play there. You really don't want to give Marvin Coleman it should be a 5-yard penalty, though the ball was on the ground. They marked off a 15-yarder. Not sure why they're getting a 15-yard penalty here on Gerald Vaughn. But yeah, that's in the area where you would consider going, Chris. I think that in the situations you're in record-wise and also trying to keep something going offensively, you might consider going there. I certainly would have wanted to go also.
Jeff Garcia had a rough series last time out. Comes back and throws a strike to Danielson. Danielson's across midfield into Hamilton territory. 22 more yards for Danielson, who's over 1,000 on the year this afternoon.
We talked about how fiery Jeff Garcia's father is, and it goes right down the stem to his son, because Jeff didn't take kindly to running the football the last couple of series, and he comes right out and hits his roommate to push the drive across midfield, and he looked at the bench and was pumping at the bench, really wanted to get things going. I think he wants to drive down the field throwing the football. I'm sure he'll lose Anderson a little bit, but he wants to get the ball back in the air.
We got to Anderson on that Statue of Liberty. Anderson a little trouble finding the handle. And that's the final play of the third quarter. Hamilton's on the board, but the Stampeders are in control. 28-7 at three-quarter time. Postcard day here in Calgary in mid-October, and the Stampeders on this Thanksgiving Monday with the lead and a big edge continuing on the stats board.
And we're pointing out the passing, or the net yards and the passing yards for Hamilton and Calgary, the discrepancy there, but another one is obviously the time of possession.
And here's Chris Walby.
Well, I tell you guys, this is Thanksgiving. Watch this. Blaine Schmidt, the long snapper on the punt team here. This is a game of tag, you got me, tag, you don't. He snaps the ball. He's going to be blocked originally by Ernie Brown. Now they got a little game. He puts a little swim move on him. He doesn't get to use that very often. And he's peeking at him. Got me. Speed up. Oh, you can't tag me. They're not even watching the ball. They're playing their own little private game down there.
Now, I'm a little suspicious. You know what's going on? Schmidt, I think, is taking Walby out for dinner and get a little airtime. Or Schmidt wants some of that turkey that Walby's got on the barbecue. 22 yards to Travis Moore as Jeff Garcia keeps it going for Calgary here early in the fourth quarter.
Well, this has been a coming out party for Travis Moore. He's kind of been the forgotten man this year, since Alan Pitts has come back, and this has been a big game for him. He stepped up in a big way, and this is big for them. This helps them because now all of a sudden Travis Moore is a viable target, and this is something defense will have to prepare for.
Yeah, he's just 8 away from his first 100-yard game of the year, and you're going to try that end around. Travis Moore threw it away and threw it into the hands of Gonzo Floyd, and he's gone. Gonzalo, oh no, a clip is going to bring this one back. Joe Montford is going to negate the touchdown that Gonzalo Floyd thought he had. Well, Travis Moore threw the interception.
Block. Hamilton, number 53. First down.
Well, that's the kind of year it's been. Joe Montford's been that 110%er for Hamilton all year, but tried a little too hard on that last play.
Yeah, he wasn't sure whether Floyd was going to be able to outrun Travis Moore. And it looked like he may have got a little shove on him. I don't know about that.
I was going to say I've seen passes that weren't catchable. I'm not sure Floyd was catchable, but it negates the touchdown, but not the interception. And the Ticats get the ball at the Calgary 30. Well, if they can push it in, they can at least get Calgary thinking. Here's Prince Wembley down to the 12, and they're saying incomplete. Wembley unable to hang on.
Ricky doesn't put enough on the ball. They're coming after him. They showed the last series of downs they're going to come after him. We're going to allow him to see zone anymore. Now we're going to come after you and make you throw the ball under duress. And he's not getting his feet set and planning and throwing the football. And this is underthrown. Now looking back on the play, it was a reverse to Travis Moore. Lamar McGriggs smells it out. And the ball is tipped by Joe Montford. Floyd picked it off.
Second down, Amerson, marker down, and Amerson really slammed by Henry.
Comes rocketing up to make sure.
Aldi Henry, 1-9, tattooing the other 9 on the field.
It's incomplete.
But again, a flag down.
And there's a flag.
Holding Hamilton number 68, decline, third down.
Well, the swing pass is a difficult throw to make, and Ricky has really struggled with it today. He doesn't know whether to put a lot of zip on it or lead the... You have to throw that one right at the back. And he strung Amerson out there a little bit, and Archie couldn't pull it in.
We're going to make this. We're going to do it. We got time. We got time.
So they'll settle for the field goal attempt. And it will be a 37-yarder for Osbaldiston, who's 6 for 6 since going 1 for 6 the last time against Calgary. Boy, he's got that
and it's good for Osbaldiston from 36
form back
the
after the tough game 3 weeks ago. Oz strikes, and it's 28-10.
Back in Calgary, where we finally have a football game, is 28-10 Calgary with 12:51 to go, and Joe Montford has finally calmed down. He stormed off the field after that blocking from behind penalty, threw his helmet, tried to restrain him on the bench, but what I liked about the Ticat reaction is that most of the players came up to him, patted him on the shoulder, and said, good effort, way to run. The Cats, that has been a sign of them all season long, positive.
And Montford should be flying on this series. It's Kelvin Anderson is stopped after a short game.
Anderson, number 32.
Michael Philbrick there.
Mike Philbrick, number 99.
I think Mark hit it right on the head for this defense. They've been positive all year long. I think that's a great comment. They've really never gotten down. They've really had some poor efforts offensively, but they continue to play hard.
Kelvin Anderson chipping away. It's only a yard away from 1,000. 2nd and 7, and McGriggs in the defense will try and get the ball back for the Hamilton offense. Garcia steps up and got it away. Terry Vaughn. Boy, Jeff Garcia just got that away. In fact, the Cats are saying he was down.
He wasn't down. That's a great effort by Jeff Garcia, because Joe Montford and Gonzalo Floyd and Willie Whitehead were coming. Montford almost got the feet. Montford's going to come from the right and wrap up right there. And
I don't know.
Might have had a knee on the ground, huh?
I think so.
As he crossed into the shadows, almost like that fastball.
First and 10, Calgary at the 51.
Well, Calgary gets a break, keeps going. First down. There's Vaughn again. A hit screen to the 54, and he has 4.
Gilbrick, number 99.
Well, we're going to see if Jeff Garcia did have the knee down as he drifts into this. Yeah, I believe he did. I think they were right to complain about that. Had the knee down.
Another Calgary.
But Garcia makes so many of those plays that the referees begin to think that Garcia gets the ball off and gives him credit for it.
Consecutive years. That hasn't been done since the 80 and 81 season by James Sykes. Number 32, Calvin Anderson.
So at midfield, 2nd down. and 7 for the Stampeders. Garcia faked the quarterback draw, pulled back, and finds Terry Vaughn for the first down.
Terry Vaughn, number 2, with the catch on the sideline. Rolls about a
So 3 catches in a row for Vaughn. And that's a 10-yard reception.
I couldn't tell whether he was bluffing this or actually wanted to run the quarterback draw and decided, hey, I've got nothing. And Terry Vaughn came back and helped him, but it worked out for him.
Terry Vaughn, 5 for 51 today, so he has 876 yards on the season. Well, Jeff Garcia shares the wealth. He's had everybody in it today. Danielson, Moore, Pitts, and it all adds up to 330 yards of passing. And there's Danielson again. And Danielson dropped the ball.
It's Danielson, number 88, made the catch. And
Rob Hitchcock came up and made the hit to keep Danielson short of the first down on the throw. But a good sharp throw from Garcia. He puts it right on Vince Danielson. We talked about the Canadians at halftime, and there's 2 of the good ones in this league going head-to-head.
Hitchcock jarred it loose, but it went off Danielson out of touch. So Calgary maintains possession.
second down and 6, Calgary from the 42.
As the Stampeders chew up the yards in the clock now, 9.5 minutes to go. Up for Danielson, picked off. Eric Carter has the interception. Flag down as Garcia's been picked off twice in this second half.
Eric Carter, number 2,
15 interceptions on the year, and Eric Carter now has his 4th. And I think it's Joe Montfort again with the penalty after the pick.
Joe Montford's always in the mix. He got called to the illegal block on the Gonzalo Floyd interception return. He doesn't waste any time to get right back in the mix. He's going to get in Jeff Garcia's face. Eric Carter's going to get credit for the interception as he comes over Danielson to make the play, but because the ball was underthrown, you got to credit Joe Montford for pressure on Jeff Garcia.
And that was Garcia's first interception, the other thrown by Travis Moore. So 2 turnovers by the Stamps in the second half. Hamilton takes over. Deep in their own territory, short gain for Amerson. Here's Chris Walby.
I'll tell you what, fellas, after the interception, watch this. Garcia gets the ball, takes the ball, throws it out, does a great job. Fred Childers down to the bottom does a nice job. The interception's thrown. Now, on defense, you're told to go block somebody. Watch Obi Spanik on Fred Childers. Look at this. This is a ring fight here. That's beautiful stuff right there, fellas.
I think Fred Childress joining Walby for dinner, too. 8.5 to go. There's Foggy to Amerson. And it's a catch at the 22 in front of Aldi Henry for a 12-yard gain and a first down.
The Stampeders as the tackle.
Well, Archie Amerson learned from his mistake, because we saw earlier in the telecast he ran a route where he got jammed to the sideline. This time he does get up the field and break to the sideline and allows Foggy a throwing lane. Ricky put the ball right on him.
Foggy to Amerson.
Calgary 28, Hamilton 10, 8 minutes to play. And a first down for Amerson, and Archie Amerson with the first off the right side up to the 28. Back to the turnovers, Dave. This is in some ways shades of last week, and still some signs of concern for Wally Buono, this team making errors in the fourth quarter.
The fourth quarter has been the Achilles heel for this team. They play well for 3 quarters or 2.5 quarters, and then suddenly a big turnover changes the tide in the game. Now, I don't think that's going to happen today. It certainly happened last week, and that's something they'll have to guard against as the playoffs come up.
Stampeders have been outscored in the fourth quarter, 144-89 on the year. Jourdain out of the backfield. And Yonel Jourdain has a first down.
That's a nice individual effort by Jourdain. Foggy decides to get the ball out to him quick so Jourdain can make a decision. He floated the ball a little bit, but he got it out there to him where he could catch it in stride, and then he makes 3 people miss. Alondra Johnson has to come in and in the play. Mark Lee has something on the sideline. Mark?
Well, Dave, a supplementary to that talk of the fourth quarter collapses by the Stampeders. Remember, they gave up 19 points in the fourth quarter last week, which coincidentally is just what the Cats need here to win.
Archie Emerson with another catch, and it's a long way for a team that has only won 2 games to come back here at McMahon. But Hamilton is at least showing some signs of life here.
Watch Amerson snap the ball. Now watch, he gets vertical, and then he breaks the sideline. They'd have made Alondra Johnson try to go up the seam with him. He didn't know whether Amerson was going over the top or whether he was going to the sideline. Archie learning on the field. This is a rookie learning how to play the game. He reestablished himself going up the field after the jam and then broke the sideline. Alondra Johnson had no chance.
Foggy to Wembley, and a flag down as Jordan pins Wembley at the Hamilton 50.
Number 27 made the tackle. And the penalty marker down.
Major foul, roughing the quarterback, Calgary number 96, first down.
Bronzell Miller. Wembley getting attention after his catch. And the major foul will take this down to the Calgary 45, and well, the Tiger Cats are keeping this interesting here in the fourth quarter.
Bronzell Miller's number 96, and he's going to come in and stick the head in there. And I think if he just come in and chested him, it wouldn't have been a big deal, but he dipped the head and popped Foggy with the head. And that referee's staring there and watching those quarterbacks. And that's a shot you're very vulnerable, letting the ball go, standing there usually on one leg, and in comes a 270-pounder with his head down. That's a good call.
This drive started at the Ticat 8-yard line. They've moved it 57 yards. Wembley continuing to get attention. So we'll take a timeout.
Everybody, let's help them out now.
Stampeders looking on, an 18-point lead. Wembley hobbles to the bench as the Ticats continue this drive.
Andrew Grigg will now come in and play the slot in place of Wembley.
Well, they've certainly turned it around offensively in the second half. Foggy's hit on 5 in a row, and that one is incomplete. So the straight over for Foggy. Intended that one for Archie Hamerson.
They have a little something going on the weak side. Foggy's trying to get Archie Amerson isolated on a linebacker. That time he was flushed and wasn't able to set up and throw, but Amerson is such a good receiver. He's so versatile coming out of the backfield. We said he caught 6 balls for 102 last week against Winnipeg, and when the running games got not going, get him going somewhere else. And he's a good receiver, good young player.
Second and 10, Tiger Cats at the 45.
Second and 10. Foggy flushed out, looking downfield for Moriali, and that one's out of play. And it brings up third down. And
looking deep for number 18, Mike Moriali.
I thought they'd be in third down territory, but looks like the kicking unit's coming on.
Third down.
And Ricky's been nicked.
Well, he sets up. The pocket begins to break down a little bit. Flushed out by Traversby, and Ernie Brown comes up with a big lick upon Ricky Foggy. Reached over and grabbed the arm or the shoulder. Yeah, I'm not sure why we're not going for it here. They're going to try a long field goal. Osbaldiston's going to set up for about a 52-yard field goal.
Osbaldiston's longest on the year is 49.
52-yard field goal.
Andrew Grigg, the holder. Time count violation before they got that one away.
Well, he nailed that, but they didn't get it off in time.
Time count violation. Hamilton number 89, still third down.
They're trying to draw Calgary offside. Ricky Foggy is in real pain at the Calgary bench. Shoulder?
It's hard to tell there. He really is struggling a little bit as Markel Fleetwood gets ready to come in maybe in place.
There we go, 57-yarder. This would be a career long for Osbaldiston. He got plenty on it. And he put it through. 57 yards for a guy that went 1 for 6 3 weeks ago against Calgary. What a kick by Osbaldiston. And it's now a 15-point game. 4:54 to go. Paulus Balderson is 8 for 8 since the debacle 3 weeks ago, and he has the longest field goal in the CFL this year. Troy S. Westwood had a 56-yarder. He just nailed one from 57 as we join Mark.
Chris, Ricky Foggy suffered a shoulder dislocation. The Ticat team doctor has put the shoulder back in its socket, but he is still in a lot of pain.
And Markel Fleetwood is warming up at the Ticat bench. Here's Garcia on the run, and he gets out of bounds, and whoa, one of our camera guys really took it.
Well, Markel Fleetwood was teaching school, and one of our guys took a shot.
Yeah, Calvin Tiggle may just crash into your living room here, I think.
Well, this is why Garcia got out of bounds, because he saw Tiggle coming. Our guy wasn't so fortunate.
Boom. Second and 8, Garcia. Kelvin Anderson. And Anderson will be stopped short of the first down.
Makes the catch and sheds one tackle. But he is.
It's a gain of 4, and the Stampeders in a punting situation. That was Dennis Generou, our cameraman, who was shaken up on the play. Dennis, pretty tough guy. Yeah, he's a rodeo cameraman too, so he'll be back in the game. That was quite a shot, though. Tony Martino punting on 3rd down, and Sam Rogers does some dancing.
Number 30, Rogers.
Up to the 34.
An 8-yard return.
8 yards on the return, a 44-yard punt. And Ricky Foggy will stay on the sidelines. And coming out of retirement, the former Ottawa Rough Rider quarterback. So there's one of those guys coming back into the league. Markel Fleetwood, who was teaching school, and, well, he's not even going to miss a series. How about way to go, Dennis? Did they get that on tape?
Just laughing it off.
He'll do anything for a shot. Well, Markel Fleetwood seeing his first action of the year, and his first pass is a completion. Andrew Grigg coming across the middle, losing yards though after the catch, and Grigg's disappointed with that as we rejoin Mark.
Well, Chris, the Ticat training staff is gingerly trying to take Ricky Foggy's sweater and shoulder pads off that injured shoulder. As I mentioned, it was dislocated but popped back in by the team doctor on the left. And the word now is that Ricky Foggy's season is over.
Boy, one after another. Calvillo down, now Foggy.
Colley went down with a broken jaw.
Mike Colley, by the way, is eligible to come back for next week's game, and Urban Bowman talked about having to make a decision on Colley. It may have just been made. Here's Fleetwood, and Amerson couldn't bring it in. And it will be 3rd down and a long 3 for the Tiger Cats. 2:48 to go.
4 yards to go.
Ricky Foggy on the cart, and he is headed to the Ticat dressing room. A 9-year veteran who has never really suffered a serious injury, and this one looked innocent enough.
It really did look innocent enough. He's going to take a shot right at the end from Ernie Brown.
3rd down, 3rd and 3.
Couldn't really see anything there that determined that his shoulder might come out, but it did.
Fleetwood on 3rd down. It's knocked down by Eddie Davis, and the Tiger Cats turn it over on downs.
That's too bad for Ricky Foggy. He played so well here in the second half. Had a tough first half. Had a super game last week, throwing for 498 yards, and really had played well here in the second half, had some things going for this Ticat offense. Good guy, one of the nice guys in the league. That's tough to see him go off with an injury.
And that smile even remains when he's injured. A foggy trademark. So the Stampeders take over a 15-point lead, and Kelvin Anderson is over 1,000 now.
Kelvin Anderson. Gain of 5.
Like in the park, they had announced it a little prematurely that he'd gone over 1,000, but that 5-yard pickup gets him to 1,004 on the season.
And he does it in 16 ball games, which is saying something.
Second and 5.
This league noted for passing, and when you establish 1,000 yards rushing, that's saying something.
Second and 5, Garcia. Pitts, oh boy! Was he rocked by Rob Hitchcock? And they're saying incomplete.
Alan Pitts, 18. Hit by Rob Hitchcock, number 42.
Well, this is why Rob Hitchcock is the free safety on this team, because his ability to rock receivers if they get in his area. This is a seam throw to Pitts down the middle. Pitts makes what looked like the reception to him, and then all of a sudden, Rob Hitchcock, number 42, comes in and decapitates him with a big lick.
Isn't that a catch and a fumble?
I don't know that he'd actually established possession there. It was close. Rob's been feeling poorly since he got here to Calgary, and that makes you feel a little better.
So Mark McLaughlin comes on. 42-yard field goal attempt. That splits the uprights, and the Stampeders have a 31-13 lead as Alan Pitts collects himself at the Stampeder bench. Well, the Stampeders will move into second place on their own, stay within 2 of Edmonton. The Stampeders have Toronto next Saturday and then finish the regular season against the BC Lions.
And the Calgary Educational
What a big one that could be. Hamilton has Saskatchewan next week, and then they finish against Edmonton in their Grey Cup game. Markel Fleetwood stays in at quarterback, flag down, and there's another catch for Ashande Smith, who had been out of the lineup for a while, but he has a 12-yard catch.
With the reception.
Markel Fleetwood was teaching school in the...
Holding Hamilton number 65. Repeat first down.
Colin Quinney called for the hold, negating the Ashande Smith reception.
Yeah, Fleetwood was snatched out of a school district down in the southern states. He actually lives in his off-season home had been the Georgia area, the Atlanta area, Decatur, Georgia, which isn't far from where I live. It's a nice area. Can't forget that he backed up Doug Flutie last year on a Grey Cup winning team.
Released by the Argos prior to their training camp. Here's Jourdain spinning away from a couple of tackles.
By number 33, Yanel Jourdain.
And up to the 35-yard line, close to the original line of scrimmage.
Now you have to think that was a pretty rewarding experience for Fleetwood to sit behind Doug Flutie and learn some of the things that Doug brings to the game, which is a huge package. You have to think about putting together game plans and improvising on the field. That had to have been a very rewarding experience for the young quarterback.
Well, just coming up here, he's got to do some improvising now. He hasn't had a whole lot of time to get set. 2nd and 11 going downfield, and that one is incomplete. Smith, the intended receiver, and it bounced off John Kalin.
Smith is incomplete. Darrell Hall, number 4, and Al Jordan.
Well, Calgary took care of business. Kelvin Anderson got his 1,000 yards. Vince Danielson got his. And most importantly, the guys comparing their 1,000-yard seasons. Most importantly, Calgary got a win on the board.
Well, and you have to think maybe next week that Terry Vaughn, who came into the game just 175 yards away from 1,000, will probably have a chance to go over 1,000. Travis Moore's had a big day. He's now over 800 yards receiving, so some of these guys are really racking up some good individual numbers, and all that goes out the window really when they get into the playoffs, because they would like to be in Edmonton on November the 16th.
It might come in handy when they have to talk to Wally Buono about their next contract.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be.
Here's Marvin Coleman. And Marvin back to the 44. One last possession for the Stampeders after the 40-yard punt.
And Dave Dickinson is going to get a chance to come in and face Willie Whitehead in this Hamilton defense. Dave has he's 6 for 6 on the year, but a couple weeks ago they faked a field goal and he threw his first touchdown pass of his CFL career.
It's not bad, 6 for 6.
No, he's picks it right up where Jeff leaves off. He's obviously having a great opportunity to learn behind Jeff Garcia. Garcia, solid quarterback in his skills.
Well, Wally Buono said he almost went to Dickinson 3 weeks ago, late in the third quarter when Calgary didn't have anything going. And now Dickinson 7 for 7 as Travis Moore has a catch. Closing in on 100 yards as Moore is up to midfield. There was a turnover as Wally Buono was about to make the decision to go to Dickinson in that game. Garcia went back on the field and drove them down for a touchdown, and that was it for Dave Dickinson's day.
That's one thing about Jeff Garcia. He seems to respond to adversity so well. If something happens bad, he immediately comes back and tries to right the ship. He does so well. I really believe he has to be considered for an outstanding nomination for the West as a player.
And Travis Moore has his first 100-yard game of the year. 5 catches, 102 yards. Anderson, and with flags down, Anderson on 2nd and 1 has the first down pending the penalties.
Looked like the offside, looked like the big group up front was offside. Jake Ireland going to sort it out for us.
Offside, Hamilton number 36, decline, first down.
Justin Ring flagged for being offside, staggered count. The young quarterback comes in, uses a staggered count there. He's learning from the veteran already. Pulls the defensive line offside. Travis Moore's had a 100-yard day as he makes his drive towards 1,000 yards. That puts him at 700 or 820 yards receiving.
So it's first down, Calgary. Back to Anderson. Delvin Anderson. Sam Rogers moved up. Make the first contact on the Calgary running back. 3-yard gain. Floyd finished him off. And Rogers shaken up after the hit. So the Tiger Cats will fall to 2-14. Saskatchewan's next. You saw the Green Riders come from behind for a win on Friday night at BC Place.
Yeah, I said that night that I really feel like that might be a team that people would like to avoid in the playoffs.
Hey, everybody back in Gilroy County.
They're so streaky, they play so poorly at times, and then all of a sudden they get everything going in the same direction, and they play really well. They always get a solid effort from their defense, and when Reggie Slack gets things going, they're really they're a team that's scary. And with Mike Saunders added to the fold of the backfield, I'm not sure that would be like you would like to have them as your first-round opponent.
No, you know, there's a lot of similarities between that Saskatchewan team and the one in '89 that went 9-9 and took on the Edmonton Eskimos, a juggernaut at 16-2 that year. And well, the Riders upset the Eskimos at Commonwealth Stadium and went on to win one of the great Grey Cup games of all time.
Well, that's one of the ones I'm voting on to hope to have a chance to see that Grey Cup week.
You know, we all got together and put in some of the ones we remembered the most, and I think that '89 game was unanimous. Everybody that had some input in nominating games had that '89 game. Osbaldiston was in that game, and here are some of the games. And
boy, really tough to pick them out. There are some classic games.
A few Ottawa games. I think we wanted to see Russ Jackson. Saskatchewan folks won't want to see the '76 game, but they'll be voting for 1989, I'm sure. BC Baltimore, that was an historic game. and last year's game as well. So let us know via the internet, fax, or mail, and we will be playing 5 of those games during Grey Cup week. Nice nostalgic look back at some of the great games in CFL history. What's amazing is we have 10, and you could argue that another 10 could have been nominated.
That's what's great about the CFL is their championship game is always a classic. You rarely have a game that's a blowout. You know, in the other league, the Super Bowl so often is anticlimactic. That game really is the crescendo of a Super CFL season.
20 seconds to go, clock running, 2nd and 7, as Calgary's going to wind her down. So the Stampeders have righted the ship after that demoralizing loss. They have blown 3 double-digit leads on the year, but today bounced back and post a 31-13 victory. Wally Buono has his 102nd CFL victory.
Now, Wally's team really came out and played solid, and that has to please him because BC and Toronto are coming to play.
Stampeders victorious, and they move into 2nd in the West.
Calgary Stampeders take over 2nd place in this very close Western Division race with a 31-13 win over the Hamilton Tiger Cats here today. And Kelvin Anderson moves over 1,000 yards with 70 today for a total of 1,008 and a big touchdown. And he's with me here on the sidelines in the post-game show. Congratulations. That's a pretty good footwork for 16 games.
Yeah, thanks a lot. No, that was my goal coming into the season, to get 1,000 yards. I didn't have no other goals, and I'm just happy to reach my 1,000.
That's always the standard by which running backs are measured, and you've made it with 2 games to go. Tell me about this team, though. A lot of conjecture about how you might react to that deflating loss in overtime last week.
It was just, things are meant to happen. It was just something that happened in the game, and it was a loss. We have to put that loss behind us and just bounce back, and I'm glad we did so today.
Well, you've done that well, winning today 31-13. Congratulations to Kelvin Anderson and the Calgary Stampeders, who are 2 points ahead of BC, but still have not clinched 2nd place. That will probably go down to the last week of the season. A big win here today at McMahon Stadium. Well, Chris Walby's turkey is all ready to eat, and it's a happy Thanksgiving here in Calgary as the hometown Stampeders defeat the Tiger Cats 31-13 today and move to within 2 points of first place Edmonton. Next week, the CFL on CBC. We are in Toronto, where the Stampeders play the Argonauts. They're riding the crest of a 9-game team record winning streak. Then Sunday, Winnipeg is at Montreal. The Alouettes coming off that 28-21 loss to the Argonauts, but they're firmly ensconced in 2nd place in the East, setting up a huge rematch the final weekend of the regular season. That comes to you Sunday at 1 Eastern. And we'll leave you with one last look at one of the toughest cameramans in the CFL. Dennis Jenner, who takes the licking and keeps on ticking, staying in this broadcast right to the very end. Thanks for watching, and so long from Calgary, Alberta.
CBC Sports, Canada's Olympic Network.